A Memphis athlete.
Derrick Rose is a Chicago athlete. Tony Allen, guys like that. Yes, they played in Memphis, but they're, in my opinion, and reasonable people can disagree. Those are not Memphis athletes, and I gave extra credit to the people that were Memphis. Harrison Williams, Rachel Heck, Nina Davis, people that from Memphis that went on to accomplish things elsewhere. In my mind, and that, again, I'm just speaking for myself. In my mind, that's what a Memphis athlete is, rather than somebody that comes from, South Carolina or Florida or Indiana or Canada or whatever, and plays here a few years, or maybe goes to college here and then goes off someplace else.
And you're entitled to have your own criteria, since nothing was laid out for you guys.
Exactly. It was open to protect. Yeah, so Matt Cain was my number one. Okay. Cindy Parlow was my number two. Mark Gasol was my number three. I picked Harrison Williams as my number four, and Austin Riley as my number five.
I like the fact that in the top 25, I don't like to force diversity, but there was diversity, and there should have been diversity with some of the names we brought up, females compared to males, black, white. There was a lot of diversity, and it should be because of just the qualifications of those people. But I like that Matt Cain's on the list. Maybe not number one like you wanted him, but Matt Cain's on the list. Austin Riley's on the list. Brent Rooker's on the list. These are all good choices. But then again, I don't understand how Michael Orr and Barrett Jones, even Thaddeus Young, are overlooked. That one fooled me completely, because we thought for sure one or two of them would be on the list. And then, of course, I'm not going to argue the five that you guys ended up having, but you had three Grizzlies, right? Four if you count Rose, but Rose is a Tiger and a Grizzly, and then a football player Tiger. So it was all Memphis. It was like someone would say, well, you're pandering to the Memphis people. I mean, it's like you have the five guys, they're all from... No, but I think these were good picks. But I also understand your point. Well, here's Derrick Rose. He's from Chicago. Zipped in, zipped out, but they went to the NCAA championship game, and he was phenomenal.
Sure. I certainly voted for Derrick Rose because what he did when he was here was significant. But, in terms of Memphis athlete, well, Joe Jackson, to me, is more of a Memphis athlete than Derrick Rose is. He's one of the leading high school scorers, not just in Memphis, but in the history of Tennessee basketball. And then he went to Memphis and had a really, really good career there. And I believe he culminated it by being, player of the year at one point. Another Jeremiah Martin wasn't on the list. I mean, Jeremiah Martin, when he was in high school in Memphis, he won 3 state championships at Mitchell. Then he went on to the University of Memphis and had an outstanding career, better than anybody could have imagined. And he, so again, there's the Memphis part of it. You mentioned Brent Rooker. When Brent Rooker was in high school at ECS, I mean, he played in 3 state championship games as a high school senior. He quarterbacked in the state championship game. He played he started on the basketball team in a state championship game, and then he, obviously on the baseball team when they won a state championship. Then he goes on to Mississippi State and wins Player of the Year, and now he's an all-star, playing in the major leagues. So to me, that kind of stuff kind of gives you a little extra credit. But again, that's just my interpretation of the rules. I'm not saying I'm right, but you can't say that I'm wrong either.
No, you can't. And here's the way I would look at it. The high school star had to do something at the college level or professionally, or I wouldn't put that person on the list. It's impossible to compare a high school player to a pro athlete. But when I look at some of the accomplishments of athletes from here at the next level, I mean the highest level, for example, Joe Salisbury, was he even brought up?
Yeah, he'll be on the honor.
How many majors does he have already?
Several.
3?
I think it was like 6, right?
Does he have 6 majors?
I'm not even sure.
Okay.
Well, he's got a lot. Yeah.
Some can say, well, he plays doubles. The bottom line is the guy's won major tennis tournaments. Yeah. He's not even scratching the top 12. You're going to throw in everybody that probably emailed the Daily Memphian will be on the honorable mention list because you don't want to get people pissed off. I understand. I know how it works. But the bottom line is that's a guy who I said could easily have been on that list. But to me, if it's just the high school accomplishment, and I don't think you have anybody like that, people bring up Kenneth Walker. They're like, some say Kenneth Walker maybe even should be on there more than Tony Pollard should be on there.
Perhaps. Eric Gray. I mean, that's the thing.
Somebody brought up Eric Gray.
Eric Gray won 3 Mr. Footballs. His team won 2 state championships. He was the driving force behind 2 state championships, and now he's with the Giants. And actually, Coach LeCastro told me with Saquon Barkley going to Philadelphia, he might be in line for some significant playing time and a chance to shine this year. So, I mean,
how about the older Lawson kid? Was he considered?
Dietrich?
Yes.
I think he was on the list of original candidates.
He was great in high school and great in college with Memphis.
And see, that's the thing. Again, it comes back to what makes a Memphis athlete. All the kids. I call them kids. All the athletes that I voted for, that had high school success here. I mean, they did go on to other success. I mean, you look at somebody, Greg, like a Nina Davis, for example. I mean, she was a great high school player, Miss Basketball, won a state championship at Central. Central's the last public school team, girls team from Shelby County to win a state championship. Then she goes on to Baylor. She's freshman of the year. She's first team All-American. She's Big 12 player of the year, part of a national championship team in Baylor. So, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, how do you quantify what she did compared to what John Morant has done?
I know.
It's impossible. I mean, you're talking about Simone Biles earlier. How do you quantify what Simone Biles has done compared to what LeBron James has done? Well, I mean, it's impossible to do. Mm-hmm. So you kind of got to measure it relative to your peers, and that's kind of how I looked at it. Relative to her peers, Nina Davis is top, very top relative to her peers. Rachel Heck is the ultimate. Same with Harrison Williams. Same with Matt Cain.
When you say peers, are you talking about peers within her sport?
Yeah, within her sport.
Okay.
Yeah, to me, that's how you have to measure it.
But then you have to somehow compare that sport to other sports.
Exactly. And again, my way is not the be all and the end all. It's just the way I did it.
Right. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and I don't know what criteria the other guys used. I didn't talk to them. I did kick around a couple of things with Frank Bonner, but I didn't have any in-depth conversations with anybody, so I don't know what their criteria was. And ultimately, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't. But this is a great, again, I don't want to say off-season. There's never an off-season in sports, but more of a tame time of the year before we get to the golf tournament and then on to the actual football games itself. It's a fun topic. I thought you guys did a terrific job with it. Eli was more upset about the Orr thing, and I mean, he would have probably went off today if he was here. But now that I look back at hindsight's 2020, but I'm like, wow, Barrett Jones, one of the most decorated college football players ever. Now, did he take away points because he didn't have this long NFL career?
Yeah,
Mike Orr had the long NFL career and Super Bowls, and that guy had a movie made after him, and he's not on that list. So, I mean, we can pick and choose. I just think there's no right or wrong. You guys did a great job.
Well, I mean,
but I had fun with it.
Somebody. I mean, how do you quantify somebody like Morgan Cox from ECS? He's a 5-time Pro Bowler. He's a Super Bowl champion. But he's a long snapper. What
about Jake Elliott?
But
not from Memphis, but what he did and the Super Bowl. Now, some people were saying I heard somebody say, I don't know where I heard it, but they go, Jake Elliott should be over Gotti. No way. Gotti should be on that list. Well, there ain't no question.
I mean, I think you got to give Gostkowski credit for winning Super Bowls. It goes back to what I said, actually accomplishing things.
He was a star pitcher in college, too, to go along with being a great kicker.
Right, but that doesn't, to me, that's not relevant to the...
Why is it not relevant? It adds to your resume.
But he wasn't a star. But what does him being a star pitcher have to do with his... He wasn't a star pitcher in Memphis, though. That's the thing. See, that's the thing. He wasn't a star pitcher in Memphis.
He played both sports
in Memphis, or did he?
At the University of Memphis.
Oh, did he? I didn't. I wasn't even aware of that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just saying that it adds to it.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
We got to take a break. I mean, we can go on for 3 hours with this stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm sure there's some folks that texted in, Zach, after we come back. If we do have texts, if not, folks, you want to text in and comment 360-8255. Sissy's Log Cabin text line, not test line. 360-8255. 985. We'll get to your texts. More with John. We'll touch on some football. Next Friday, we'll really get into football because the season starts what date?
Season starts...
the Jamborees?
Jamborees will be August 16th. The season proper starts August 23rd.
Right around the corner.
Actually, August 22nd. There'll be games that Thursday. So
Wow. All right, right around the corner. He is John Varlas. He's brought to you by Shoot 360 Memphis. Quick timeout. We'll come back with more. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Be sure to follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled, and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. Fiveash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
You've got to watch your NFL team every Sunday, and Verizon's got you covered for all your team's out-of-market games every Sunday afternoon. Come on! From kickoff to sign-off, from first downs and touchdowns, to turnovers, and overturned plays.
After review, pass was incomplete.
Nice! Let's go! This season, win every Sunday with Verizon. Get a great deal on NFL Sunday ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV and a new phone. Excludes digital only games. Terms and quotas apply.
Genesis Diamonds is opening up the vault with our largest GIA diamond event ever. Starting Saturday for a limited time, all our GIA diamond engagement are down 20%.
That's 20% below Genesis' already unbeatable price. This means you can buy like a dealer house with deep discounts on over $10 million in stunning diamond rings.
Savings on every GIA diamond ring, 1/2 carats to 20 carats, all shapes, 2 grams, ovals, cuts, cushion cuts, pear shapes, emerald cuts, princess cuts.
Remember, all Genesis diamonds are handmade to come straight from the diamond cutters that are rated by the GIA, the most prestigious gem cutting in the world.
Genesis everyday prices are unbeatable.
Don't miss this chance to save like never before. This exquisite diamond ring, buy like a dealer house. Starting Saturday for a limited time, exclusively at Genesis Diamonds.
When you think about insurance and you want great value without sacrificing great service, I want you to think one place: the Eflin Insurance and the entire Eflin Insurance team. Matt and his group of professionals will access 10 leading companies to find the right home and auto program that fits your budget and your absolute needs. The Eflin Insurance team, the number 386-GER, 386-4777.
Save on O'Reilly Brake Parts Cleaner. Get 2 cans of O'Reilly Brake Parts Cleaner for just $8. Valid in-store only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
John Varlas in studio, brought to you by Shoot 360 Memphis with 2 locations in Cordova and Collierville. All right, so we were talking about this during the break, and I think this needs to be brought up because possibly people don't know this. Again, if they care about these lists, and it seems like there's a lot of people that got into it this week. If you are a Memphian, no matter what you do, wherever you do it, you guys included that in your consideration. But if you are not a Memphian, it's only what you did in Memphis. In other words, Pau Gasol was not given credit for going out to Los Angeles and winning NBA titles. Yet he still finished top 10.
Right. I mean, and again, that's where it gets murky, and that's where, that's where everybody's interpretation of what makes a Memphian is extremely subjective. So yeah, if you're a Harrison Williams or a Tony Pollard or a Matt Cain, you get credit for whatever you do because you've got where it says
Residence.
hometown, in the media guide, whatever, where it says hometown, it says Memphis, Tennessee, so you get credit for that. But, somebody like a Derrick Rose, for example, he's not measured on the great success he had with the Chicago Bulls. He's only measured on what he did at the University of Memphis, which for that 1 year was spectacular. So, I understand it may sound like it's nitpicking. It may sound like it's kind of a fine line or very, very subjective, but that's kind of what you get into when you're trying to figure out what makes a Memphian and what makes a Memphis athlete.
Right. And you also didn't take into consideration necessarily the birthplace if they were born somewhere else, but they moved to Memphis as a youngster, like Matt Cain, who was born in Alabama.
Yeah, but my thing is if you were, if you got here at least for high school, and if you accomplished in high school and then went on to accomplish at higher levels than high school, me personally, that's what I looked at, and again, it's not right, it's not wrong, but it is how I did it.
Right, but that's the way you did it.
Yeah.
But again, you had a little bit of criteria, right?
Yeah.
You just talked about that.
Yeah.
But Marc Gasol wouldn't get credit for the Toronto. He spent his high school years here in Memphis.
Yeah, but
he wouldn't get credit for the Toronto NBA title.
Well, he would, yeah.
Oh, he would.
Yeah, in that case, he would. See,
okay.
It gets
murky, isn't
right,
it?
It gets really sticky and murky, and again, I think a 4-hour meeting, could have gone a long way.
Podcast would have been great with all you guys just kind of throwing it around.
You don't want to hear us on a.
No, maybe I do.
Wants to listen to us on a podcast.
Oh, I don't know. I love this kind of stuff. Look, I think you guys did a great job.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
I like your list. I like thinking outside the box. But basically, it came down to the top three, and that's the three that Eli and I came up with. I think most people did, that it was going to be Ja, D'Angelo, and then obviously a very compelling case for Marc Gasol. All right, just a few minutes. Again, if you want to text in, I can get to your text a little bit later on as far as the DM list. But closing in on high school football, camps are open up. Anything here that's earth-shattering? I know you're starting to get really busy in talking to coaches and players and writing a lot of stories.
Yeah, we've had fun getting out to some of the schools, and we're going to continue to do so. We've been to Bartlett, we've been to Melrose, we've checked in on FACS and Sheffield. We'll have a story posting about Lausanne. Later on this morning, talked to Kevin LeCastro, who's now the dean of local high school coaches. Wow. Now that Bobby Alston is retired.
How about that?
Yeah, I mean, Kevin LeCastro's been not a head coach, but he's been coaching in Memphis high school now for 36 years, and so he had some good things to say, not only about his team but the state of Memphis high school football in general. So we got a good article coming out about that. Some really great scrimmages tonight. If the folks out there want to get out and see some high school football, 6 o'clock out at Collierville, Mace. Always a competitor in Class 1A. They're going to go out there and scrimmage the Dragons at 6 o'clock. The state champs, Houston, they're going to be over at MUS at 7 o'clock, and I think also at 7 o'clock, Lausanne is going to be out at Whitehaven for a good scrimmage. Millington and Central are scrimmaging out at Crump Stadium. I think Millington has a chance to really surprise some folks and be pretty good this year. I think there's going to be a scrimmage at Bartlett tonight with Briarcrest. Lots of good scrimmages tonight. Southwind is scrimmaging Haywood County. Should be a really competitive scrimmage there. So yeah, lots of good teams in action tonight. If you want to go out and see some high school football, it's going to be kind of like high school football. I mean, the coaches will be standing on the field,
sure,
and you'll be kind of limited in what's going on, but you'll be able to get it. It'll be more fun than the Hall of Fame game. I can assure you that there won't be any weird kickoffs, and they're people probably won't be slipping and sliding all over the place, and I don't think it's going to lightning.
No,
So
I don't think there's lightning in the forecast.
You'll probably get all your money's worth, and I don't think it costs anything anyway. So yeah, get out and watch a scrimmage tonight if you're so inclined. Go out and have some fun.
Well, I know the juices are flowing for John Varlas as it's his time of the year. Of course, it's really always his time of the year with all the preps that he covers, all prep coverage at the Daily Memphian. Make sure to follow John on Twitter at John Varlas. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, we got to do something about this kickoff rule, Greg. I appreciate you letting me talk about our list, but I got a bone to pick with that kickoff rule.
Save it. We'll have a double bone next Friday.
Oh, that's gonna be an evergreen bone until they do something with it.
He's John Varlas. Have a great weekend, John.
You too, buddy. Thanks.
First hour of the program, as you know, brought to you by the Big Green Egg. The third hour of the program, we'll talk more about them in specific terms in hour 3. But Jenkins Floors and More. They have the new warehouse open in Horn Lake, 2356 Goodman Road. Easy drive from anywhere in the metropolitan Memphis area. If you're looking for flooring, if you're looking for carpeting, they're a family-owned and operated business. Financing available. They sell it wholesale. Skip the middleman. Save you lots of money. Top-of-the-line material as well, and they'll come to you, give you a free estimate. And if you go with Jenkins Floors and More, a 2-week turnaround to get the job done. For more information, call them at 662-469-9350 or stop by. They're open Monday through Saturday. That's 2356 Goodman Road in Horn Lake. They also have stores in Cleveland, Mississippi, and Little Rock. Jenkins Floors and More. Hour 2 on the way. We open up with Joe Molinax talking some Grizzlies. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Visit Frontier Western Store today for new shirts and boots. Frontier is your top Carhartt store in the Mid-South. There's thousands of in-stock shirts and jeans. They have the classic K87 pocket tee in every color they make, including new ones just released. Available small to 4X. Want new jeans? Frontier has you covered with super tough work denim by Carhartt. And you've got to check out their selection of Ariat jeans for men, women, and children. You'll love how easy it is to find the size and style you need. Have you seen Frontier's remodeled world-famous boot showroom? It continues to expand. New styles by Ariat just arrived, plus plenty of in-stock proven classics too. Whether you need work or dress boots, trust that Frontier's the place to come. See thousands of pairs of Ariat boots and thousands more by Dan Post, Corral, Durango, Rocky, Twisted X, and others. And Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores, so you know just the local shop to visit. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
Genesis Diamonds is opening up the vault with our largest GIA diamond event ever. Starting Saturday for a limited time, all our GIA diamond engagement rings are down 20%.
That's 20% below Genesis' already unbeatable price. This means you can buy like a dealer buys with deep discounts on over $10 million in stunning diamond rings.
Savings on every GIA diamond engagement ring, 1/2 carats to 20 carats, all shapes, too. Cuts, colors, ring cuts, cushion cuts, pear shapes, emerald cuts, princess cuts.
All Genesis diamonds are handmade to come straight from the diamond cutters that are rated by the GIA, the most prestigious gem brand in the world.
Genesis everyday prices are unbeatable.
Don't miss this chance to save like never before. Exclusive diamond brand, buy like a dealer buys.
Starting Saturday for a limited time, exclusively at Genesis Diamonds.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. For nearly 2 decades, we've installed some of the best roof systems across the Mid-South. To the tens of thousands of clients we've served, we are honored. So many of you call our team at Brian Elder Roofing your roofers. Our team is dedicated to serving you and keeping your family safe, dry, and mold-free. The recent hailstorms have caused massive damage, and many of these will go unnoticed for years, even though the golf ball-sized hail we just experienced in the Mid-South compromises even the best-built roof system. Whether we find damage or not, your photos are securely stored for future reference. Call Brian Elder Roofing today for a total evaluation of your entire roof system free. We will not try to sell you a roof if all or visit us online at BrianEllerRoofing.com.
Simple, smooth, and every sip is easier to last. Tito's handmade vodka tastes just as good with tap water as it does your favorite mixers. Back in the day, Tito distilled, hand-bottled, taste-tested, sent out to a few friends, then taste-tested again to give you the finest juice around. No frills, no flavors, no fancy labels, just the good stuff, just Tito's. For recipes, videos, and more, visit Tito'sVodka.com. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Oh, yeah. Sports 56 traffic.
Morning, starting to build just a bit in the Midtown area there on 240 northbound. As you come up past Lamar, traffic still holding up right now as we check it out live. 55 northbound coming up from DeSoto County all the way there up into South Haven. Trying to finish the paperwork on a wreck we had early this morning at Mississippi Boulevard at Danny Thomas involving a police cruiser. It was pretty nasty. Hey, Havenly Showers, your curbless shower specialist, transform your bathroom with a tub. Curbless shower conversions, havenlyshowers.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Diamonds are forever.
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 8:03 the time. Hour 2 of the program. Greg Gaston and Zach Boyd. Eli off today. He'll return to the show on Monday. It's the Friday, August 2nd, 2024 edition of the program. Coming up in just a few moments, we're going to talk some Grizzlies with Joe Mullinax. We are broadcasting live from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, where family and fun come together, located at 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Hour 2 of the program is brought to you by the great folks at James Gaddis Jewelers. They are located at 4900 Poplar Avenue between Mendenhall and St. Nick, and on the web at gaddisjewelers.com. Every Monday and Friday, they bring you the Memphis Sports Fact. Did you know Harrison Williams, the graduate of MUS, the man who holds many state records in the great state of Tennessee, will begin, or has already gotten underway, competition in the decathlon in Paris. And John Varlas has posted on his Twitter feed a link to go to. I can also tell you that it's Paris Multis, parismultis.com. You click on About under the drop down in the right corner, and you can follow the actual decathlon, the event, and where things stand for Harrison Williams. So check that out. Young man from MUS, one of a few we have from the great city of Memphis that are actually performing in this year's Summer Olympic Games. So kudos to all those, not only from Memphis, but from the tri-state area, from Tennessee and Mississippi and Arkansas, the surrounding area, that have made their respective Olympic teams or have qualified as an individual performer. It's just an unbelievable thing to be able to do that and be at the top of their game, and Harrison Williams certainly is. Again, second hour of the program is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers, your family's jeweler, 4900 Poplar between Mendenhall and St. Nick, on the web at gaddisjewelers.com. Go visit them this weekend. Tell James and the gang you heard it here on Sports 56 Mornings. Currently 80 degrees. It will get up to 95 today. Once again, high humidity, so the heat index is going to be probably triple digits. A heat advisory is in effect. And then tonight, clear skies with a low of 73. As I mentioned, we haven't spoken to Joe in a while, but it's time to talk some more Grizzlies. The Grizzlies, of course, making news this week, with the Luke Kennard signing, albeit a one-year deal. He is Joe Mullinax. He's the co-host of Locked On Grizzlies, the podcast. He's also an NBA writer, writes plenty about the Grizzlies and the NBA. You can follow him on Twitter. I suggest you do, at Joe Mullinax, and he joins us now on Sports 56 Mornings. How are you, Joe? How are things in your neck of the woods?
They're going okay. It's hotter here in the Richmond, Virginia area than it is in Memphis, it sounds like. We're going to be around 110 today. So I'm going to have to say, Memphis, you got to get your game up. Talk about being so humid down there. You're getting soft in their old age.
110 in Richmond.
110 heat index, baby. That's right.
My gosh. Have you been, I'm throwing you a curveball right off the bat here, and you
Sure.
may not know this story, but I saw this yesterday. I thought it was worth bringing up. I saw the story about the possibility of the Grizzlies being one of the 5 NBA teams reportedly on the chopping block for Diamond Sports with their bankruptcy reorganization. In other words, there may not be the normal way to view Grizzlies games, and who knows what that may mean for the future. Have you been keeping an eye on this story?
A little bit. I think that my understanding of it is, to my eye, I want to stress I don't have any sources. My partner on Locked On Grizzlies, DeMichael Cole, would be a better person for this. But I am not as worried about it from a Grizzlies perspective because they've already kind of set up a media branch, right? Like, you were able to watch every Summer League game via the Grind City Media app. And I think that they're kind of positioned, if necessary, that they could just go to a straight streaming process. There's things that they could do if that did indeed happen. But it's not too surprising. I mean, the reality of the Grizzlies being in a market like Memphis, there were several jokes on X over the week when Luke Kennard re-signed. People were like, oh, my God, I forgot about the Grizzlies. You know what I'm saying? Because it's been so quiet. That's just the sad reality of the national landscape of the NBA. You know, whether it's Mike Miller talking about people have forgotten about Ja Morant or, overall folks forgetting that Memphis is a team that, when healthy these last couple of years, aside from this past season, has been one of the best in the NBA. It's just the reality of the market. So they'll always be in these kinds of conversations. It's hard for me to believe that in terms of the money of the NBA. I feel like the NBA would save that specific way of doing business in some way, shape, or form, especially coming out of the new media deal. They're going to have some cash to burn. But if it does happen, I think the Grizzlies are set up in a position with the Grind City Media group that they've built over the last few years. They should be in a spot to be able to withstand it.
Yeah, you just beat me to the punch. They do a great job with Grind City Media, and if they have to produce the games, I think they not only can do a good job, I think they'll do a great job with that. But we may not go down that avenue. We'll see what ends up happening as far as broadcast. But either way, you're going to be able to watch Grizzlies games. You're going to be able to watch Pete Pranica and Brevin Knight and Rob Fisher. But we're talking with Joe Mullinax. The big news this week, of course, the Luke Kennard signing. I think most people believed that after the trade of Zaire Williams, which freed up some money, it was only a matter of time. It took a little more time than people thought, but they got the deal done. I was a little surprised, Joe, not at the amount that's reported, $11 million, but that it's only the 1 year. If you would guess, what is your best guess how that conversation went between Kennard's representatives and the Grizzlies?
Well, I think for both sides, it's a brave new world going back to the new media deal, right? Like, how is the cap going to jump? What does that mean for a guy like Luke Kennard who has a very specific skill set? Now, I've argued on the podcast and here, there, and everywhere that Luke Kennard is a top 10 shooter in the history of the NBA. The numbers back that statement up. But that's pretty much what he does, right? He's a little bit of a facilitator. As DeMichael likes to call him, he's a try-hard on defense. He's certainly nowhere near elite in that area. He tries, but it's not his strength. He's one of the best three-point shooters on the planet, and that skill set has value. And if you look around the NBA at this free agent market, I think Buddy Hield signed for $9 million out in Golden State, I believe, is where he is now.
2 years, 18, right? $9 million per.
Yeah, yeah, $9 million per. So he, in terms of the flexibility angle, it's good flexibility for both sides. Memphis, if they have somebody like a Cam Spencer, for example, as money gets more tight. We talked recently on the podcast about how Jaren Jackson Jr., it could potentially be another $300 million contract going into his extension conversation. So you would have 3 max deals on your roster. You're not going to be able to keep Luke Kennard. That's just the finances of the business. But Cam Spencer is there on a 2-way deal that if he can show in this year that he has the capacity to do a lot of the things that Kennard does, maybe not as well as Luke, but still can provide that spacing, that scoring, that facilitation. Maybe you can say goodbye to Luke and you can sign Cam Spencer to a 4-year team-friendly deal. I think it makes sense for Memphis in that way, and I think it makes sense for Luke. Look at Tyus Jones signing for the veteran minimum in Phoenix and betting on himself. betting on himself in an ideal role for him, right? And we know how good of a facilitator Tyus Jones is. He doesn't need to score to affect winning. And he's saying next year there's going to be more money, and I'll be able to go somewhere else and make what I deserve, but I'm going to take advantage of this role and this fit. To a lesser extent, I think that's what Luke did. He saw the opportunity to make more money than a Buddy Hield, at least in 1 year, and he also knows that he's going to have a role in Memphis. He's going to continue to show what his shooting and his scoring potential is, and next offseason, when assumingly the cap goes up that 10%, he's going to be able to go out into the market and perhaps get a little bit more money somewhere else.
Joe Molinax joining us on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line. All right, let me ask you this. What would be your best educated guess as to how Taylor Jenkins runs the point when John Morant is out of the game? Does he slide over Des Bane? Does he stagger with Marcus Smart? Is Derrick Rose going to be given the benefit of the doubt early in the season before he eventually gets hurt again? I don't wish it upon him, but it happens every year. Or does Scottie Pippen get that opportunity? How do you think that will materialize?
I think that's going to be the most interesting competition in training camp, right? How that all is going to work out in process. And, you know, my stance on this has always been, if John Morant is who John Morant is supposed to be, he should be on the court 36 minutes a game. So that means the last 3 minutes of the first quarter and the first 3 minutes of the second quarter, last 3 minutes of the third, first 3 minutes of the fourth. That's the time you have to cover not having John Morant. I think that you can piece it together from there. To me, the answer would be a mix of Bane and Smart. But I know you watched Grizzlies basketball when Ja was suspended. Smart being the lead point guard did not go well. So how badly they lose those minutes when Ja is out and Smart is the backup point will be worth watching. I think that Bane can do it. You mentioned Scottie Pippen Jr. He had a heck of a summer league. I think that he's proven that he's the long-term answer there. But will he be ready to take on the brunt of that, you know, in the 50 games, essentially, that he's going to have the ability to do it? And we also have to remember that I believe two-way contracts are not eligible for the postseason.
Right.
So that's not a long-term answer in terms of the playoffs. You sign Derrick Rose. You hope that he is in a spot to be able to give you some spot minutes. They're going to have to be smart with how they utilize him and the mileage that's on him, as you alluded to. And there's a reason that there were rumors that the Grizzlies were interested in Tyus Jones again. Now, I don't know how much I believe those rumors because I know that Tyus is better as a starter than as a true backup. But when he filled in for Ja, he did a really good job with that. And I would say for a Grizzlies team, this is probably the deepest rotation they've ever had. Their one major weakness is what happens when Morant is out. But at the same time, since he's the team superstar, he shouldn't be out all that long.
Were you bought into the possibility of drafting Edey before the draft? And then if so, or even if not, what is your reaction now that they not only drafted Edey, but we saw a glimpse of what he could possibly do, albeit a short, small glimpse in Las Vegas?
I was a Donovan Clingan guy. I started the fee-fi-fo-fum movement, and I was very interested in Clingan being that big for Memphis because I just saw a lot more versatility there than I saw from Edey. But I will say, I think her name was Kristen Peak or something like that from Yahoo Sports, when she said it was the worst draft pick in NBA history. That turned me around. Like, that just fired me up because that's just the most ridiculous statement I've ever heard in my life. This is a guy that dominated college basketball, right? For the last 2 years, he's been the best player in the country. His size is phenomenal. And we talked about on the podcast recently, the rivalry that likely exists with the Houston Rockets since Dylan and Steve-O are there now. Steven Adams is going to be smaller than Zach Edey. There's not many times where Steven Adams has someone bigger than him on a basketball court, but that's going to happen when the Grizzlies face off with the Rockets. And I think that's the biggest takeaway for me is you essentially have a bigger Steven Adams. I don't know that he's the passer that Steven Adams is, but I know he has a better offensive game than Steven Adams does in terms of scoring, has better hands, that sort of thing. So I think that Memphis has essentially doubled down on what has made them successful the last couple of seasons, again, this past season not included. They had a big, like a Steven Adams, who was able to set screens, rebound, cover up a lot of the weaknesses of the other aspects of the roster, allow for Jaren Jackson Jr. to be his best self. And they don't need Edey to be that back-to-the-basket guy like he was at Purdue. They don't need him to play 40 minutes like he did in the national championship game. If Zach Edey can play 25 to 28 minutes a game and give you great rebounding, solid rim protection, allow Jaron to be that free safety-esque type of defender that he was in his Defensive Player of the Year season, he's more than worth the draft pick. So I would have preferred Klingon, but to have a plan B like a guy who dominated college basketball the way that he did in Zach Edey certainly isn't something to put your nose up at.
Yeah, well said, Joe. I'm same thought process from me. I wanted Klingon, and then I was sold on Edey. Looked back at, wow, he was pretty darn good in college, pretty dominant. What the heck, Then watched him play in that first Summer League game, albeit Summer League, and dominate the way he did. I was sold. The only thing that's a little scary is 2 games, 2 ankle injuries, slight injuries, nothing real serious in summer. They were being very cautious with him. I understand that. But he showed durability at Purdue. So I don't know if I should be concerned, right?
No, I wouldn't be concerned. They were kind of freak accidents. It'd be different if it was a lingering foot issue like Klingon had, right? Like that was one of the questions about Klingon was having foot problems throughout his college career, or at least the last couple of years. And the important thing about that game that Edey did play, I think it was against the Utah Jazz, he was going against Walker Kessler, who a couple of years ago was the darling of the NBA. He was seen as one of the next up-and-coming good bigs, and Edey outplayed him in his Summer League debut. So I do think that there is value in Edey being what he is. He doesn't need to do more than what Memphis needs him to do, and I think because of the role, because of the opportunity, there's a reason he's one of the favorites for Rookie of the Year, because he's going to be in a specific role. He's going to almost certainly start. I think there's other avenues they could take, but to me it makes sense to just kind of run it back with the way that the roster is and say, instead of Steven Adams, here's Zach Edey, and let's see how it looks, alongside Ja and Dez, of course, the X factor being Marcus Smart and Jaren Jackson Jr. Because as long as Smart is in Memphis, he's going to start. There is no question, in my mind at least, of Vince Williams Jr. or Gigi Jackson. That's fun on social media to debate. That you don't understand locker room chemistry if you think those guys are going to supplant Marcus Smart. He'll be in that starting lineup. So I think that'll be the starting 5, and we'll see how it goes from there. Well,
I do want to ask you about the rotation. Final thing for you, Joe Mullinax joining us on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line. Trying to come up with the rotation, I think it's pretty easy. Taylor, when he has the full arsenal, he goes deep. He'll go 5 deep from the bench, meaning 10 total in his rotation. So I would have to think, and I certainly want it to happen, that Gigi Jackson is a part of that rotation. Now, LaRavia had a good summer, but I don't think he supplants what we saw from Jackson, and the possibilities for the future for Gigi is more of an upside than LaRavia. Do you think the same way, that you're going to see Jackson in the rotation, and the rotation will probably be 5 deep, meaning 10 total in the rotation of the team?
I do think so. I think that you'll probably see the 5 that I mentioned a moment ago: Luke Kennard, Vince Williams Jr., Brandon Clark, of course, Santi Aldama, who's doing excellent work for Spain in these Olympics. He's been a lot of fun to watch. And I think that 10th guy, and hopefully higher, is Gigi Jackson. I agree that LaRavia has improved. I think he's shown that he's an NBA caliber player. The ceiling is just so much higher with Gigi. He does so much as a scorer. I wish he passed more and completed facilitation more. Some of his shot choices are crazy. But again, he's so young. And I think that that's important to keep in mind. For him to be in a rotation on a team that is trying to get to the Western Conference Finals, that should be a compliment to him. That should not be a detriment. Ideally, in my mind, he becomes an O.J. Mayo-esque 6th man that comes off. How long has this team needed a microwave bucket getter?
Sure.
For someone that can score points when a Desmond Bain, a Ja Morant, now a Jaren Jackson Jr. are out of the game. Gigi can do that better than anybody on that roster, and Michael and I were talking about it on a recent episode of the podcast. You've got Santi Aldama, who scored double digits in games before off the bench. Gigi Jackson has shown that he can score. Luke Kennard, of course, can be that guy. And then Brandon Clark is literally in the role of a backup big, double-digit scoring. So this could be one of the best benches in Memphis Grizzlies history, as long as they can figure out how they divvy up those minutes when Ja Morant isn't on the floor.
He's the co-host of the Locked On Grizzlies podcast with our buddy DeMichael Cole. He writes about the NBA. You can follow him on Twitter at Joe Mullinax, and he certainly tweets a lot about the Grizzlies. He is Joe Mullinax. Joe, great to catch up with you, my friend. Stay cool if you can with 110 degrees in Richmond.
It's football practice time, so I'll be out there enjoying the heat of it. But
yeah,
I
know you will.
appreciate that, and thank you guys so much for having me back on.
Thank you, Joe. Take care. Good stuff from Joe Mullinax. Yeah, he's a football coach, but covers the Grizzlies and does it very, very well. Pinnacle Roofing and Restoration for all your roofing and home repair needs. Call Brandon McCullough, the owner of the company, locally owned and operated company, 901-438-5084 or online at newroofmemphis.com. They offer financing, different plans and options to choose from a 6 to a 12, even an 18-month, same as cash option. They'll work with your insurance company or out of pocket, whatever it takes to get that new roof or that roof repaired. They are part of the Roofs for Troops program. Any veteran, active, or retired, you get a $250 rebate on the purchase of a new roof. They do residential and commercial roofing. So business owners and property managers, listen up. Obviously, homeowners as well. If you have a leak or any other roofing problem, call Brandon today. They'll come out and do a free roof inspection. They're licensed, bonded, and insured. They are a member of the Better Business Bureau. You get a 5-year labor warranty on the purchase of a new roof. All their work satisfaction guaranteed. They do work around the home like carpentry work, exterior painting. They can put up fencing and siding, rotten wood repair, replace gutters. Whatever it is that you can't do yourself, call the experts. Quality work at a very reasonable price. Pinnacle Roofing and Restoration. Call Brandon McCullough at 901-438-5084 or go online to newroofmemphis.com. For all your roofing and home repair needs, it's Pinnacle Roofing and Restoration. When we come back, we switch gears. We talk Cardinals in Major League Baseball with Katie Wu. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
We are Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your #1 source of quality pre-owned vehicles, ranging from lease returns to new car trades, all at huge savings. Plus, Triumph has a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at triumphautosales.com or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great car and a great experience from a local and family-owned business, visit Triumph Auto Sales.
Welcome to the Rendezvous.
This is John Vergas. When my dad started the Rendezvous in 1948, I don't think anyone could have imagined we'd still be serving shoulder, cheese plates, and our world-famous dry rub ribs 75 years later. But we are still here in the basement, in an alley in downtown Memphis. We sincerely thank you for making the Rendezvous what it is today. Charlie Vergas Rendezvous, a legendary experience for over 75 years, whether you dine in, pick up, or ship across the country.
You've got to watch your NFL team every Sunday, and Verizon's got you covered for all your team's out-of-market games every Sunday afternoon. Come on! From kickoff to sign-off, from first downs and touchdowns, to turnovers, and overturned plays.
After review, pass is incomplete.
Nice. Let's go! This season, win every Sunday with Verizon. Get a great deal on NFL Sunday ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV, and a new phone. Excludes digital only games. Terms and others apply.
If you're looking to play a private country club but only pay daily greens fees, then Meadowbrook Country Club in West Memphis, Arkansas is the place for you. At Meadowbrook Country Club in West Memphis, you can now play a beautiful, challenging course for only $59. Meadowbrook Country Club features champion Bermuda greens and is now available to everyone. A membership is $350 per month and includes tennis, pickleball, and swimming, plus a great restaurant and bar, all less than 15 minutes from downtown and midtown Memphis. Meadowbrook Golf Pro Mark can even fix you up with custom-made tricks on and Cleveland clubs. If golf isn't for you, try the social membership for only $250 a month. And there's 2 levels of all-inclusive junior memberships, $20 to $29 for $200 a month and $30 to $34 for $250 a month. Call for your tee time today at Meadowbrook Country Club, 870-394-4186. Now semi-private Tuesday through Sunday. Meadowbrook Country Club in West Memphis, 870-394-4186.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. Traffic's on the increase even more in the last 15, 20 minutes out here on 51 coming southbound out of Millington. There's been some radar over in Arkansas this morning down parts of I-40 as you head out towards Forest City. What a nasty wreck we had earlier this morning involving a police cruiser at Denny Thomas at Mississippi Boulevard. Hopefully they'll get that all opened back up sooner than later. Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64 is your full-service family-owned jewelry store here in Memphis. Go by and see them this weekend. Save a lot of money by shopping local at Weimer's Jewelry on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Don't you just love it?
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 8:26 the time. Greg Gaston, Zach Boyd, Eli off today. He'll return to the program on Monday, getting you set for the sports weekend. Tough night last night for the Cardinals. Thought they had the Cubs. I'm sure they thought they had the Cubs, and it came unglued in the bottom of the ninth inning as they lose to Chicago, but there's always the next game. But it was a good week. Obviously, the Cardinals making a bunch of moves to strengthen their chances for the postseason. And here to talk about the Cardinals is Katie Wu. She covers the Cardinals for the Athletic MLB. You can follow her on Twitter at Katie J. Wu. She joins us now on Sports 56 Mornings. Hey, Katie.
Hey, guys. Good morning. How are you?
Doing fantastic. I think the last time you were on with us, the Cardinals turned the corner, because I know the first time we had you, it looked like they were really in trouble. And things have started to get better, and we'll talk about the moves that they just made. I hate that I open up this discussion talking about a rare blown lead by their fine stopper or closer, I should say, and Ryan Helsley, who just didn't have his stuff last night, and the Cubs were able to get that first game.
No, he didn't. And look, it was a tough ending to what I thought was 8.5 innings of really good baseball from the Cardinals. He just didn't really have his fastball last night. It was, maybe a little more breaking ball heavy is what he told us. Maybe he was a little too reliant on the off speed. And for whatever reason, the Cubs have had Helsley's number all year. He had registered 5 saves against them, but when you look at their numbers, I think Cubs hitters were hitting 343 off Helsley this year. And, we all know how good he's been. Again, his third blown save, and it was August 1st. I mean, that's just how the game goes. But, yeah, certainly a tough loss last night for the Cardinals. They'll be sure to try to bounce back with their new addition on the mound today.
It's interesting. Sonny Gray was fantastic. You hate to not be able to cash in when he pitches that well, and he's pitched well. But you mentioned the numbers against the Cubs. He's your closer. You're going to go to him. But, analytics is part of the game. And I'm not sure if there's any other option that's even close to bring in Helsley. But if a guy's going to struggle against a particular team and you're playing that team, he may think, maybe I should go in a different direction. I'm talking about Ali Marmol.
Yeah, that's not really how we've seen Ollie manage this year. He's been very good at defined roles, and that's what's made Helsley so effective. He said it multiple times. He said, knowing when I'm going to pitch, knowing how I'm going to be used, that allows me to play all my resources and really attack the hitters the way that I want to. It was just a bad night for Helsley. It happens. It's frustrating, of course, when you get 7 innings of 2-run ball from your ace, Paul Goldschmidt, 3 hits, Nolan Arenado, timely RBI, Mason Wynn, 2-run homer. All the guys that need to step up did. So it's unfortunate when the bottom of the ninth things go awry, but that's baseball. And, I think there's no doubt that Ryan Helsley is going to take the ninth every time in a safe situation. He's their closer for a reason. He's an all-star for a reason. He's also human. So you watched it. I was talking to Ollie Marmol last night, and I said the good news is it's Friday's a day game, so you don't have to sit on this one for too long and get right back to it today.
There you go. Katie Wu joining us on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line. All right, before we talk about the moves, what about the performance from Michael McGreevy?
Yeah, that was fun to see. Debuts are special. Probably my favorite part of the game is seeing a guy, especially a guy that I've known for a while. McGreevy was the first draft class that I covered for the Cardinals. So it was just a standout job from him. And, it's tough when you're coming up and you're coming up for a spot start only. So shout out to McGreevy for going out and saying, hey, I have one shot at this right now. I'm going to give it all I have. And he said, he wasn't nervous and everyone thought he was lying, but he really did mean that he had no nerves. He's like, it's the same game I've been playing my whole life. I know how to pitch. The Rangers aren't really that overall. They're not very productive against right-handers. And McGreevy's done a nice job in adding the cutter so he can get lefties out as well and improving his own arsenal. He has a 6-pitch arsenal now. So all in all, just a great showing from McGreevy. I'm sure he'll get a chance. Will come up here again, but his sole purpose on Wednesday was just to come up and log a start because he needed them to, and he logged a dandy.
6 pitches in his arsenal. Wow. So the Cardinals go out. They get Sean Armstrong. They get Eric Fetty, who will pitch tonight, both obviously added to the 26-player roster. They get Tommy Pham, the return of Pham into the Cardinals organization, already paying dividends with the Grand Slam the other night. There are a lot of people that cover baseball that have written about the trades. Everybody gives the grades, although we haven't seen Fetty throw 1 inning or Armstrong 1 inning. But they think that the Cardinals got away with murder, that they made some really good moves and took the White Sox to task. What do you think about the moves, at least right now, most of it on paper?
I think John Mozeliak had a great trade deadline, and I say that for a multitude of reasons. At the start of July, the start of the trade deadline month, he highlighted 3 areas of the roster he'd like to improve: the rotation, the bullpen, and a right-handed bat off the bench. Given what we knew about the trade market at the time, very sellers having not a lot of teams willing to trade their assets because so many were in contention. And I was thinking to myself, if he gets 2 out of 3, he probably has a really great deadline. Not only did he know exactly what he wanted, he knew exactly who he wanted. So Fetty and Pham were I think, one of the best trades he's made on paper in the last 3 or 4 years, because you think about the return, what he gave up, and you look at what other teams gave up just to land a pitcher. The Cardinals got, in my opinion, since Crochet wasn't traded, the best available starting pitcher minus Jack Flaherty, who they were never going to get in the first place. They weren't going to bring him back. And they add a bat that their players had clamored for. You know, you had veterans going to Ollie's office and say, please bring in Tommy Pham. And he did so without really kind of having any kind of financial overblow, minimal risk on the return. And he traded from someone who wasn't even on his active roster. Then you look at for Dylan Carlson, you knew he was going to get traded. Just unfortunate it wasn't working in St. Louis for Carlson. Hopefully he has a better chance of success in Tampa Bay. But he was able to get a reliever for Carlson, and the relief market this year was astronomically high. So all in all, as the dust settled after 5 p.m., you're looking at John Mozeliak back in the buyer's seat since his first selling season. He said, let me make up for lost time. And I thought he did a really great job. He got all 3 of the things that he wanted, the players that he wanted, minimized the risk on the deal, and this is my personal favorite part, did not lose a single top 30 prospect.
Yeah, the old dog still has some tricks in the old bag. People obviously criticizing John the last couple of years, and I just thought it was absolutely terrific. We're talking with Katie Wu. She covers the Cardinals for The Athletic MLB. You mentioned Carlson. It seemed to have soured, and so he was certainly on the trading block. Tommy Edman battling injuries. So, like you said, they didn't give up a top 30 prospect. Jordan Walker still in Memphis, and still hopefully has a bright future with the Cardinals. They give away a guy who's battled injuries and another guy who they soured on. I mean, you can't lose in that situation, I don't think.
Right, and it wasn't like they wanted to trade Tommy Edman. I mean, they really liked him. It just, Tommy became expendable, and that wasn't the plan, right? They come into spring training, or not even spring training, they come into the GM meetings in November saying Tommy Edman is going to be their starting center fielder. I can't remember the last time the Cardinals had set their outfield before spring training. And then they liked him so much they signed him to a 2-year, $16 million extension, knowing he just had off-season wrist surgery because they were that confident in what he could do for the club. But of course, no one could predict that this wrist surgery would keep him out until August. But what it allowed was for the emergence of Michael Ciani in center field, someone that was so down in the depth chart, I figured we just wouldn't see him this year.
Mm-hmm.
Now they realize they have a true gold glove candidate that can play center field, and he's starting to hit. And then, it came down to Brendan Donovan being that super utility that Edman also was. They always had kind of a redundant roster. So with Ciani hitting, Brendan Donovan being able to play whenever, and the team finding out ways to win without Edman, he did become expendable. And if you have an opportunity to move the remaining $9.5 million of his contract off the books, you do that, especially when you can land one of the, top arms available in Eric Fetty for just $7.5 million next year. I mean, to me, it was an absolute fleece by Mo.
Mm-hmm.
You never see a 3-team trade anymore. I was very impressed with how the Cardinals came out of the trade deadline.
So when you look at the numbers, Cardinals sitting at 56 and 53. They're 2 games out of the wild card. There are people now that believe that they could chase down the Brewers because the Brewers really did squat at the trade deadline, but who knows? And then you look at for those who are into the numbers, and I am sort of, Cardinals are a minus 36 in run differential. All the teams ahead of them right now in the wild card race, Braves plus 61, Padres plus 42, Diamondbacks plus 45, Mets plus 26. And then there's the Cardinals at minus 36. Somehow, some way, they're piecing enough offense to go with the pitching, which has been pretty darn good. You mentioned a bit earlier, Goldie's starting to hit. He's up to 238. Doesn't sound great, but where he was, he's starting to find the bat. Arenado's hitting the ball a little bit. And then you got these other guys like Ciani and Pegues and Wynn starting to contribute. Donovan has been Burleson has been pretty darn good. Getting Newbar going a little bit. It's like they're piecing hits and runs and doing just enough to win games. It's not like they're going out there and smashing the ball around, Katie, but they're doing enough.
They're not, and that was the theme of the first half. Was we would joke with the coaching staff that your team really likes one-run games, huh? They're not stressful at all, no way. And the run differential thing is real, but I would caution fans because I don't want to dismiss the notion. It's very valid. That run differential is the first half. That you're a brand new team after the trade deadline, and getting someone like Tommy Pham. The Cardinals coming into the trade deadline were the worst team, minus the Marlins. I don't count them. In baseball against left-handed pitching. They had the second lowest OPS, the least amount of homers, lowest average. And they needed a right-handed bat because who could have predicted Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Arenado's offensive decline for 4 months, right? But you have Tommy Pham, and I'm not saying the offense can be fixed by one person, although the pinch hit grand slam was pretty cool. What bringing Tommy Pham does is, it does give you a bat that absolutely slugs against lefties and some righties. I'm pretty sure Pham is in the lineup today against Javier Assad. But it also takes off some of the pressure from Goldschmidt, from Arenado, from Contreras, who really, all three of them really felt like, hey, we are the core of this heart of the order. We have to produce every single time because runs are really hard for us to score right now. And no matter how good of a player you are, when you're consistently pressing to score, you're probably not going to score very much. So getting Tommy Pham in is twofold. He can rake, and it kind of shows to the rest of the lineup, hey, we can split the load here. You're looking at Paul Goldschmidt lately, the quality of contact so much better. Nolan Arenado, the quality of contact so much better. The pitch selection so much better. And Contreras, he can hit as well. Obviously, we know this. So that's what I really like about Tommy Pham coming in. I get the run differential is not good, but I caution fans. Teams are different after the trade deadline. First half run differential, not so good. Now we see what the Cardinals look like because this is the group of guys that's going to be competing for that postseason push for the next 53 games or so.
Yeah, that's a fair point. And a third thing about Pham, he ignites the clubhouse. It's like getting a B12 shot. It's all of a sudden, he's an old familiar face, but to some of these people, they don't remember him. And here he is coming in. As you said, there were players that were out there trying to get Mo to make this move, and here, or telling Ali, whoever they did, to make the move, and they make the move. So he's igniting the clubhouse as well. It's an invigoration of sorts. Katie Wu is joining us here on the program talking Cardinals. Didn't it seem like every single trade that happened involved either the White Sox, the Marlins, or the Rays?
That's the seller's market, right? And I think some teams did better than others. But, the Rays. What the Rays did, what Eric Neander, their president of baseball operations, did, he sold a lot, but he kept the pieces that he thought were going to be competitive next year. I heard that he was not entertaining offers on their closer, Pete Fairbanks. You think of the Rays, how good they are at player development.
Great.
It's just, if you're going to sell, I really liked the way Eric Neander did it because if you're a Rays fan, you're disappointed, but this team is not decimated like the White Sox or the Marlins, but, they're also winning a lot more games than the White Sox and the Marlins. And they're also set up well to compete for next year, so you don't always want to pivot on 2024, but if you're going to sell, that's usually what you're doing, right? I think if you're the Rays and you're looking at 2025, you're like, hey, you know what? There's still a chance that we can compete next year. It's not like the Marlins or the White Sox where you're looking at a very long, painful rebuild. I think the Rays can get right back to it next year.
So including today, 53 games remain for the Cardinals. What are your expectations the rest of the way?
Oh, it's going to go down to the wire. I don't anticipate getting a lot of sleep in September. That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
When I do think because of the National League is so tight, there's just no clear favorites for who is going to be in that wild card. And the Cardinals have been adamant since day one that they're going to win the division. Now, fans are going to scoff at that because I don't believe they've been in first place at all this season. But from what I've seen in the years that I've been in St. Louis, something changes with this club in August. They become a second-half team, and you talk around with veterans that have been here for a while, and they say the same thing. They said, for as long as I've been here, we really turn it on in August and make a run in the last 60 games or so. So I'm expecting it to go down to the wire. I would not rule the Cardinals out for the division, as crazy as it might sound right now on August 2nd. But I do firmly expect them to be competing for a playoff spot in the last week of the season. It will be a much more exciting September in St. Louis than last year, that's for sure. And it could have the potential, of course, to be maybe even more exciting in October.
Yeah, I'm with you. I had a national baseball writer on the other day, and he thinks they're going to run down the Brewers. Like I said, the Brewers seem to always do this. They just don't make enough moves at the break or at the trade deadline. We'll see. They're a good team, but the Cardinals made the moves. The Brewers didn't. We'll see how it all turns out. And of course, Katie will have you all covered as far as the Cardinals are concerned. Make sure to follow her on Twitter at Katie J. Wu and read all her great stories at The Athletic MLB. Katie, always great to have you on the program. Thank you so much for the insight.
Of course. Happy to join you. Have a great weekend.
You too. Take care. She is really good at what she does. Corky's, they are really good at what they do, and that is serve up that delicious slow-smoke barbecue. First of all, cook it, and then serve it up. And I will probably go over there, not today because I'm going over to Shoot 360, but in the next few days I'll head over to Corky's. I usually get the pulled pork plate. Love the beans that they have. Love those rolls that you get at Corky's with your entrees. By the way, you can add a third of a rack of ribs for just $7.99 when you purchase a barbecue sandwich, their award-winning catfish plate, tamales, any of the entrees, and get that third of a rack of ribs for just $7.99. That'll stuff you, I guarantee you that. But you get a taste of the ribs if you're not just going to go and get a slab or a half slab. They have been catering the entire time they've been in existence, 4 decades. So if you have an event coming up, you want it catered, contact Corky's. They'll start you out as low as $8.99 per person. Party packs that start at just $7.49. Lunch specials every single day. 4 locations, Poplar Avenue in Memphis, Poplar Avenue in Collierville, Germantown Parkway in Cordova, and Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Corky's Ribs and Barbecue, open for lunch and dinner 7 days a week. When we come back, if you want to hit us up with a text on anything we've talked about, 901-360-8255. I'll update you on everything that's happening on this Friday in Paris at the Summer Olympics. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Looking for sports in all the wrong places? Try the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland Town Square. Fun, friendly, exciting, and comfortable with wall-to-wall TVs for all your favorite games, 24 taps for all your favorite beers, including NA and local craft beers, and an in-front-of-the-wall full bar for all your other favorite beverages, including a full wine list. And in an upscale menu, patio seating, daily specials, and events, and you found all your sports in the one right place. The Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland Town Square, Highway 70.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. For nearly 2 decades, we've installed some of the best roof systems across the Mid-South. To the tens of thousands of clients we've served, we are honored. So many of you call our team at Brian Elder Roofing your roofers. Our team is dedicated to serving you and keeping your family safe, dry, and mold-free. The recent hailstorms have caused massive damage, and many of these will go unnoticed for years, even though the golf ball-sized hail we just experienced in the Mid-South compromises even the best-built roof system. Whether we find damage or not, your photos are securely stored for future reference. Call Brian Elder Roofing today for a total evaluation of your entire roof system free. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. Call me at 901-867-0303. That's 901-867-0303. Or visit us online at brianelderroofing.com.
This is it. Shop the Lowe's Closeout event to get up to 70% off select major appliances for your home. Plus, get up to 60% off select patio furniture and accessories for your outdoor spaces. So hurry into your local store today because these deals are too good to last. Shop them now before they're gone because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 8/7 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Summertime's finally here, and that means it's time to party. Lucky for you, Family Leisure is having a summertime to party sale. Now, what's all included in this party sale? Practically everything. 24-foot above ground pools for as little as $19.99. All ladders, filter systems, and even robotic cleaners are 20% off. Come in and look at all of the in-stock patio furniture Family Leisure has. Plus, it's up to 50% off. Play gyms for the kids, that's $1,000 off. Patio umbrellas, take 20% off. You can get a 4-person hot tub for just under $3,000. We know you're really going to just use it for yourself. Family Leisure has discounted pricing on all in-stock pool toys and floats while the supplies last, so you better get in quick. Plus, Family Leisure has special financing available. Just ask an associate for all the details. Summertime means party time, and Family Leisure is ready for any party. Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun all come together.
When the weather gets better, I found a new place to really soak it in. It's the patio at the Commissary in Collierville. We all love the delicious Memphis-style barbecues. You can begin your barbecue fest with some great appetizers like the cheese plate or the tamales or the barbecue nachos. Oh, those smoked chicken wings, they're terrific too. Then dig into the ribs or the barbecue shoulder. Get it chopped or pulled on a sandwich. A big sandwich, or you can get it on a plate. You've got choice, and you've got choice in places. Don't forget the Germantown Commissary as well. Comes with beans and slaw, deviled eggs they're famous for, and Brad, you can even order by the pound, a 6-pack or an 8-pack or even a 12-pack. The Boss Man salad, the chicken plate, the barbecue shrimp. There's something for everybody, and those great desserts. The best icebox lemon pie anywhere. Or my favorite, the banana pudding. Check out the patio, TVs for sports, and music on the weekends. You love the Commissary.
Memphis, the playoffs are back. Come see the PGA Tour's best compete for the trophy, the FedEx St. Jude Championship, August 14th through 18th. Witness the drama, 70 players arrive in Memphis, and only 50 move on. Tickets are on sale now at FedExChampionship.com.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
To reveal the full spectrum of its dazzling color.
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
United States men, that's U23 with the men, not the women, at the Olympic Games, trailing Morocco 1-0 in quarterfinal round play. They are closing in on halftime. Again, Morocco leading the United States 1-0. At the golf competition at Le Golf National, round number 2, Xander Schauffele is through, and he has the lead, at least a part of the lead. He has a piece. He is 11 under par, shot 5 under today, and he is tied with Hideki Matsuyama, the first round leader. Matsuyama is -3 for his round. He is through 13 holes. So Schauffele and Matsuyama at 11 under. Tommy Fleetwood, 6 under through 13. He is at 10 under par, just a shot off the pace. And then John Rahm shot a 5 under round today. He is 9 under par. Rory McIlroy is 5 under. Scottie Scheffler, even on his round through 11 holes, is 4 under par. So if Scheffler, McIlroy are going to come back and win gold, they got to put it into another gear. Of course, it's only round 2, so plenty of golf to be played at this event, which is the course that they used several years ago for the Ryder Cup. And the United States had a problem there, but the course is not as tricked up, or at least as difficult as it was for the Ryder Cup, and that's why these scores are pretty favorable as far as going low. Obviously, you don't want to see 20 under par. Hopefully that won't be the case Although some people argue, well, good golf is good golf. Yeah, I understand that. But, boy, I can't stand when a tournament, especially a tournament with meaning, like the Olympics or a major, and it's not normally the case with a major, but where you have winners shooting 25 under par, 23 under par. Not a big fan of that. So last night, as I talked about in hour one, the NFL preseason began with the Hall of Fame game, a game that only went 2.5 quarters because of the weather that rolled into the Canton area, lightning. They delayed it, they waited, and then they said that's it. So Chicago got the win, but I think if you bet the game, it's probably voided because it wasn't a complete game. Not probably, I would have to think definitely. 21-17 at the time of the game being halted, and they're not making it up. Chicago 21-17. Brett Rippon, remember him from Boise State? 3 touchdown passes. Caleb Williams did not play whatsoever, nor did any starter for the Chicago Bears. But Eberflus did say that he will play in some of the preseason games, whether it be 1, whether it be 2, whether it be a few plays, 1 series, a quarter, I don't know. But he's going to play, and he should play. I think it would be ludicrous to put Williams or any of these rookies in bubble wrap and then expect them to start game 1 of the regular season. They have to get some action. Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to play some, I would imagine. You're going to see all these other quarterbacks that were picked in the first round playing. Now, Williams and probably Jaden Daniels, I would think, are going to start day 1. It does not look like Drake May will start day 1 in New England, but that could change. You had Jacoby Brissett the other day coming out and saying that he expects to be the starter while he's in New England. His return to New England. I don't know about that. I also saw where, who was it? It was Colin Cowherd on this station during his show in the afternoon, Fox Network, saying that he believes Joe Milton's going to get snaps. Joe Milton also on that roster. They still have Bailey Zappi. Somebody's going to be released. But it doesn't look like Drake May will start game 1. But that could change. J.J. McCarthy in Minnesota, I don't think he starts day 1. I think that's going to be Sam Darnold. And certainly Michael Penix Jr. is not starting day 1. Kirk Cousins was paid a lot of money to come in and hopefully steer Atlanta in the right direction. So of the 5 first-round picks, 1 for sure, and Williams, I believe Jaden Daniels. Washington now has Kenny Pickett. But we'll see. That's why I completely understand both ways. Starting the guy that you've invested, going to spend a lot of money, even with that rookie deal, a lot of money, and you want to play them, whatever player that is, whatever position that is from the get-go. Then again, the other train of thought, which was the train of thought for years and years, that you don't throw those valuable players right into the fire. You let them ease into it. But in this day and age, the sense of urgency, win now, you never know how long a coach and their coaching life expectancy is, that they can't afford to wait around to not have these players on the field right away if they are difference makers, if they are indeed difference makers. One other note from the Olympics, Carlos Alcaraz, who's now won, I believe, 3 major titles, and he is not only the present but the future of tennis. He has moved into the finals at Roland Garros for the Olympic gold medal. He'll be in the gold medal final against either Lorenzo Musetti or Novak Djokovic. The fact that I've never heard of Lorenzo Musetti shouldn't mean anything, but to me, he ain't winning. Looks like it'll be the Joker and Alcaraz in the men's singles final, and that would be something else. That's what they want.
Djokovic play in the French Open, or he didn't play in the French Open this year?
No, he played. Didn't he play, but he was hurt? No, he was hurt and he came back and went to the final, right? Look that up, and lost to Alcaraz? Didn't know Djokovic was hurt, ended up playing less than 100%, went into the final. Am I wrong about that? And then lost to Alcaraz. It's good memory by you. It's good memory by me if I'm right, but I may not be right. That was not too long ago either, on that same court, on the red clay of Roland Garros. Did you find it?
Yeah, there was the French Open was in June. Am I right? Yeah.
Was it in June? Oh yeah. It was. Yeah, that's right. It was before Wimbledon. Maybe I'm thinking of Wimbledon. Maybe I'm thinking of Wimbledon with Djokovic. And look up both those if you can, and tell me who was in the final.
Yeah, he lost in the qualifying round because I think he got hurt. He hurt his knee.
He got hurt at the French Open.
Yeah, the French.
So you're right, but the one I was thinking of was Wimbledon.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I was thinking like the French Open was just played. No, you're right. French Open was June. Wimbledon was the most recent major. Of course, they still have the U.S. Open to play. And that's when he battled back from injury. Didn't he get to the final and lose to Alcaraz at Wimbledon?
Yes.
There you go. And that was Alcaraz's third major, I think? Third major title?
Third major, second Wimbledon title.
So now you could have Djokovic play Alcaraz if he can get by Lorenzo Musetti. If you mentioned, I mentioned this earlier, if you missed it, NFL, couple of injuries. Justin Herbert will be in a walking boot for a couple of weeks. They don't believe it's anything to be overly concerned about. But I think anytime your starting quarterback who you're spending a lot of money on is in a walking boot, that would concern me. He is expected, though, to be ready for week 1. Meanwhile, wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins, bad news for the Titans, out 4 to 6 weeks with a knee strain. So I was going back and forth yesterday with our friend Becky Dinstall from Dinstall's, and she told me, listen, this week, the Summer Sizzler special is the hand spoon divinity, just like your grandmother made, she said. On sale now at Dinstall's. And so I went back and I said, what exactly is divinity? What are we talking about here? I know what the word means, but what are we talking about when it comes to candy? She said it's an old-fashioned candy, still a delicious recipe today, reminds many of their grandmother who made it during the holidays. Sweet and soft, delicious. So I was looking up divinity, and they don't put their recipe on the internet, but I think marshmallow is involved in this thing. They have the big pecan on the top of it. It looks heavenly. It's called Divinity, and I got to get me some. It's the Summer Sizzler special going on right now at Dinstall's. Also, they have the chocolate-covered blackberries, strawberries, grapes, and pineapples. Again, covered with that Dinstall's rich milk chocolate. Get them while you can. Make sure that you put a smile on somebody's face by giving them Dinstall's candies and chocolates and shipping them to a loved one around the country. You will be the hit of the family, I can guarantee you that. 5 locations. They are located in Collierville. They have a store in Germantown, in downtown Memphis, at Laurelwood, and at Pleasant View. That's where they make the candies. That's where the magic happens. It's Dinstall's Fine Candies and Chocolates. They've been making them for over 122 years. When we come back, we open up hour number 3 talking about Mississippi State football. Do they have any chance to make an impact this season? Brian Haydad will join us, and then we'll have 10 in a row, the game show that has swept the nation. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled, and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. Fiveash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
They can't get that Central Barbecue location on Central back open soon enough.
It's still going to be a little while. They do things right at Central Barbecue. That's why every location is so unique.
I know, but there's a lot of different Central Barbecue locations. But I miss the OG, the Central Barbecue on Central.
You know, it's going to be completely different.
Well, not completely.
Yeah, when the Central Barbecue location on Central reopens, it'll be bigger, nicer, more streamlined.
But still on Central.
That's about the only thing. For the time being, until they tell us different, you can't go wrong with any of the Central Barbecue locations.
You know, I think we've broken a record for saying Central Barbecue the most times in a Central Barbecue commercial.
They're taking care of beerness in Memphis, right on the river with Grind City Brewing and all of their great products. Look, this was a dream come true for a father and son duo. And if you have not been to that brewery right on the river, just to the north of downtown, you're really missing something special. And now you can't miss their products. Wherever you go, you see a brand new label. It's clean, it's beautiful, it's distinctive. You'll know Grind City Brewing, and of course you know their products like Poppy's Pills, that great Pilsner, or Tiger Tail, that very creative craft malt liquor. There's the new Thaddeus Amber Lager. That is absolutely a great light beer. There's the India Pale called God Hopper. It's outstanding. And then there's the Belga, the Belgian-style wheat ale. They keep bringing hits at Grind City Brewing.
This Sports 56 traffic report is brought to you by Luttrell Belting. They keep you moving.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. MPD still on the scene investigating this early morning crash. It was a head-on collision involving what looked to be a white Nissan and a MPD car. From what we understand, one of the officers in the car did lose his life, and so did the driver of the other Nissan, the white Nissan that it collided with. Again, they still have it tied up there at Danny Thomas at Mississippi Boulevard. Try to avoid that area. The accident reconstruction team is still out there on the scene of that fatal crash. Traffic still moving up through South Haven, at least for now, on 55 going northbound up by State Line Road. Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64 is your full-service, family-owned jewelry store here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 9:04 the time. Final hour for us this week here on Sports 56 Mornings. Greg Gaston and producer Zach Boyd. Eli off today. He'll return to the show on Monday. We are broadcasting live from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, where family and fun come together. 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. We're going to talk some Mississippi State football with Brian Haydad in just a second. 83 degrees currently. We'll get up to 95 today. High humidity. So the heat advisory out once again tonight, 72 for a low with clear skies. The third hour of the program is brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More. They have their warehouse in Horn Lake now open, 2356 Goodman Road in Horn Lake. They also have stores in Cleveland, Mississippi, and in Little Rock, Arkansas. They specialize in flooring and carpeting. Family-owned and operated business. They sell it wholesale, skipping the middleman, saving you lots of money in the process. They have everything from the SPC and WPC vinyls, ceramic and porcelain tiles, hardwoods by Portercraft, carpeting from Southern Luxury Carpet, on and on and on. They will come to you, give you a free estimate, And if you go with Jenkins Floors and More, they promise a 2-week turnaround. They'll have the job done in 2 weeks. Financing is available. Ask about their Sports 56 discount for all you Sports 56 listeners. This is obviously for homeowners, for contractors. 662-469-9350. Open Monday through Saturday. It's Jenkins Floors and More. Without further ado, it is time to talk a little Mississippi State football. We do so with Brian Haydad, host of the Sports Talk Mississippi show with Richard Cross on Sports Talk Mississippi. You can follow him on Twitter at Brian Haydad, and he joins us now on Sports 56 Mornings. It's been a while. How you been, Brian?
Hadn't been too long. We were just at Media Days the other day, wasn't it? It feels like it was anyway. Just over there in Texas.
Not me. You had Brett was there, of course, from our station. But yeah, we were here. We haven't been. Eli and I haven't. We've had the show there so many times, but the last few years we haven't been on the road. Brett's been on the road. So was Dallas? Was it good? Did you like that as a host site?
Dallas is a great city and a lot of fun stuff to do there, and I thought that the location was fantastic. But man, that's a long haul to get out there. I'm pretty excited we're back in Atlanta next year. That'll work a little bit better.
All right, so everything I've read, we've had the magazine guys like Phil Steele on the show, the so-called prognosticators, the so-called experts, and everyone seems to think it is going to be a real struggle for State. Can you convince me otherwise?
Well, I mean, they're going to have to work hard. There's no question about that. This isn't the best team in the SEC by a long shot. But when I look at their schedule, I think that Mississippi State, they have non-conference games that are winnable. That game at Arizona State, I mean, it's tough to go on the road and beat anybody, but I think State can get that one. They're picked dead last, the Big 12. That should be a team that Mississippi State can beat. So there's four. And then you look at the conference schedule, you get that game against Florida at home early when you should be 3-0. So you have a chance to have some big momentum there, and I don't really like this Florida team. I feel like I'm on an island of when it comes to Florida. Like, I really don't like them. I don't think they're going to be any good at all. So I think State can get that one. And then you have Arkansas, and for some reason, and this is something I've talked about with some other people, that Arkansas gets the benefit of the doubt that Mississippi State does not. State has beaten Arkansas 7 of the last 10 years and has finished above them in the SEC in that same time frame. And yet every year, Arkansas is picked ahead of Mississippi State by the media. State beat Arkansas last year with a head coach who wasn't even talking into the headset most of the time.
Right.
So I mean, that game being in Starkville, I think State will get Arkansas. So that's 6 wins. And, in Mississippi, everything gets run through the prism of the Egg Bowl. So, Ole Miss is probably going to be a 10, 11-win team this year and be in the college football playoff. So from that angle, yeah, it's going to be tough to be a Mississippi State fan this year. But this is year one of a new coach. You've had 4 coaches in the last, 5 years here at Mississippi State. It's time for some continuity and let Jeff Lebby build up this program. And the hope around Starkville and some of the people who are in the athletic department will tell you that there's a lot of the same vibes for Lebby that there were when Dan Mullen came in, and that he can be a guy who can come in here, get this program back up and running, and get it back where it was. Gosh, not that long ago.
Brian Haydad is joining us on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line. You make a compelling case for 6 bowl eligibility in Jeff Lebby's first year. I think absolutely doable. As you mentioned, the Arkansas game in Fayetteville. Who knows? It depends on the way things go for Arkansas. That could be the death knell for Sam Pittman, who is certainly on the hot seat, losing a game even though it's a roadie at Mississippi State. But, yeah, I think 6 is attainable. But, anything after that is you're going to have to pull some upsets. And if they're going to pull some upsets, obviously they got to get some really good quarterback play, and it's Blake Shapen now who comes in and he has the job.
Yeah, and Shapen's a guy that, when he was at Baylor and when he was healthy, he looked pretty good.
Yeah.
But that healthy word is going to be the word you have to keep an eye on because he did have some injury problems over there at Baylor. This is an offense that I don't want to say it's easy to master, but every quarterback that Lebby has worked with has put up tremendous numbers. You go back to Dylan Gabriel and Mackenzie Milton at Central Florida, then Gabriel again at Oklahoma, and, of course, Matt Corral at Ole Miss. Now, Gabriel is probably an NFL guy. Corral is an NFL guy. I don't know if Blake Shapen is the same kind of talent, but I do know that this offense creates the mismatches, creates the ability for you to have some open throws. It's going to really utilize the run game. State has a lot of depth in the running back position, but they don't have a proven guy back there. They have some guys they like, but they don't have a guy that you can just sort of point at and say, well, he's done it before and he'll do it again. So offensively, that's where the questions, but at the same time, with Levy, everywhere he's been successful offensively. He took over an Ole Miss program in 2019 when he was the offensive coordinator. That 2019 team was awful. I mean, they couldn't score on anybody. And then the next year, they were the third or fourth best offense in the country, and that was without the transfer portal. He just had to come in there and work with what he had. Nobody knew at that time Matt Corral was going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Nobody knew that Elijah Moore was going to have a record-breaking season going into that year. So, for Mississippi State, that's the hope, that you've got a quarterback who can put up big numbers, that you've got a deep and talented receiver room, and somebody in there can be a 60, 70-catch guy. And then you've got a committee of running backs who can work together and move the football down the field.
I love what Levy has done most of the time as an offensive coordinator. You make a great point about what he did at Ole Miss, and I remember that very, very well. But what tells you that he's ready to be the guy? This is his first head coaching gig. How much confidence do you have in Jeff establishing himself as a very good head coach?
That's a good question, because go back to the Mullen thing. I felt like when Mullen got the job at State that he was kind of the next guy in line, right? He was the guy that everybody had been pointing to say he'll be the next head coach to come out and do well. And I think Levy was kind of at that point. I mean, I feel pretty confident that if Lane Kiffin had taken that Auburn job a couple of years ago, Jeff Levy might be in Oxford right now. He might have gotten that job. So I think he was ready. I mean, he's gone up the tree here. He's been an offensive coordinator for three really good programs. Every program he's gone to has been good offensively, so his resume is good. He's got the deep coaching connections. It just feels like it was his time to be a head coach, and Mississippi State was the opportunity for him.
So I was looking at the offensive line. I completely forgot that in the portal, Mississippi State went out and they got a guy from Memphis and McCollum Pounders, who played for the Tigers. Offensive line, how confident do you feel in them?
That's an interesting group, because 5 new starters, 4 of them did not play college football at Mississippi State last year. You're talking about really hit the transfer portal hard there. Pounders is a top prospect for Mississippi State. He was really good last year at Memphis. His recruiting story is very interesting. He was committed to Mississippi State, flipped to Ole Miss, but then found out that it was kind of a signing day shenanigan deal. He didn't actually have an offer from Ole Miss, and so he ends up at Memphis. Now he's back at Mississippi State, which is kind of where he wanted to be all along. So I don't know if that's a heartwarming story or a cautionary tale, whatever you would say there. And then Ethan Miner, the center from North Texas, was one of the top centers in the portal. State was able to work some connections there and hired his offensive line coach as their tight ends coach, John Cooper. And then Jacoby Jackson from Texas Tech, Marlon Martinez from LSU, and then Albert Reese, who was at SEC Media Days, is the only homegrown starter for Mississippi State. So how quickly could that group come together? I like the coach, Cody Kennedy. He was really good at Arkansas 2 years ago. Nobody was good at Arkansas last year with Dan Enos there. That offense just couldn't do anything. But I feel like he's got a group that's talented, but that, the offensive line, it's all about chemistry and cohesion. How do 5 guys who have never played a game together come together quickly? That's going to be a big key for Mississippi State.
Brian Haydad is joining us, host of the Sports Talk Mississippi on Super Talk Mississippi. You can follow him on Twitter at Brian Haydad, joining us on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest lines. My buddy Matt Barnes, now at Mississippi State. Have you had a chance to talk with Matt at all?
We had our one and only conversation with the assistant coaches on Tuesday. Levy follows that Saban pattern of not allowing his assistants to speak to the media, but we got to talk to him. So we talked to Matt Tuesday, along with the defensive coordinator Coleman Hutzler and the rest of the staff. And that's a group that defense that's what's going to determine what Mississippi State really is this year, because there's a ton of question marks. They were not very successful in the portal. They brought in some guys, a couple of guys from Memphis. They brought in Stone Blanton from South Carolina, who's a Mississippi kid, was committed to Mississippi State in baseball out of high school, was flipped to South Carolina for football. But now he's back in Starkville. But a lot of the depth chart is going to be guys they recruited out of high school and guys who have not played much in the SEC. One thing with Leach and with Zach Arnett is that they just did not rotate guys a lot defensively. And you've got a bunch of guys who are redshirt sophomores and juniors who haven't played a ton of snaps for Mississippi State. John Lewis, who went to SEC Media Days, I mean, this is his 4th year in the program. He's never started a game, and he hasn't really made a lot of plays. And they're counting on him to be a big-time player for Mississippi State. So, ton of questions. State doesn't have to be, those defenses of years past, like that 2018 defense that was number 1 in the nation. They don't need to be that, right? Because you have to buy into Levy being able to score points this year. So if they can just be a top 90 defense, you'll go to a bowl. At top 90, you're going to go to a bowl. Anything above that's going to be gravy. I go back to that. I've been making this comparison to the Ole Miss team in 2020 a lot. That was the worst defensive team in college football. They couldn't stop anybody,
right?
But they could score on anybody.
Shootout every game.
Every game was a shootout. I think State fans are ready for that. They were losing games last year where they're only scoring like 10, 12 points. You can't have that in this day and age of college football. So if you're going to lose, you better at least be exciting, right? So if State's going to lose some shootouts this year, and I think the fans are okay with losing some shootouts, but they need to find a way to score points because that's what's going to tell the difference on this team. Because defensively, there's just a lot of questions. They could surprise, but if they don't, it's going to be on the offense to lead this team.
It's amazing. I was probably saying that 20 years ago when the Memphis Tigers, I'm trying to think, maybe even 25 years ago when I started covering the Tigers. Now, I've been here since 95. And they would lose games 13-3, 10-3. And I said, just score points. Even if you lose, if you score points, you excite the fan base. If you don't score, what are they even there for? Once in a while, pitchers do 1-0 is fun. But most of the time, we like 10-8. So,
and you think about college football nowadays, like and how much it costs to go to a game.
Right.
Nobody wants to pay $500-$600 for tickets and parking and hotel and everything else to go watch a 13-10 game. You know, if you're going to pay that money, at least make it 42-40. At least I had some fun in the game.
No question. Now, one of the defensive newcomers you mentioned from Memphis, it's Diego Brumfield. For those who forget, he's a senior now. He's going to be in that secondary for Mississippi State. What do you think, Brian, about the Egg Bowl will be played on Friday of that week, not on Thanksgiving. Do you like it traditionally on the Thanksgiving, or are you happy that now you can be with your family or whatever the case may be?
So we've always just done a Saturday Thanksgiving the past few years.
Okay.
We just completely moved it over. Didn't worry about it, because most of the days I was either traveling to Oxford or, we just had to be ready for the game on that night.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, I see where for a lot of people it was an issue, especially if you're out of state and you're traveling. I get that. I think the Black Friday spot is a really good one. You're going to be on ABC. This will be the highest rated Egg Bowl, possibly ever. At least, definitely since the 2014 one, which was the CBS 2:30 game that year. So from a exposure standpoint, it's huge for Mississippi State and Ole Miss in this game. And I'm definitely not a person that likes the game on Saturday because I feel like it gets lost in the shuffle with Michigan, Ohio State, the Iron Bowl, and all the other great rivalry games that day. So on Friday, 2:30, that's a great spot.
All right, give me your top three, and I would imagine I know a couple of them, but top three finishers in order in the SEC, and then how many get to the playoff, and who are they?
My top three from my ballot were, and I may surprise you with my third one, to be honest with you, were Georgia as the SEC champion, Texas was number 2, and Tennessee was third.
Whoa, Tennessee, okay.
I'm really high on the Vols, and to the point where I'm starting to question it. Everybody looks at me funny when I tell people, I just don't see a lot of losses. I think they'll lose to Georgia, but I think they're going to beat everybody else. And then from the SEC, I think they get 5. Add Ole Miss and Alabama to that mix. I think Missouri is really good this year, but they'll miss out.
Wow, you think so? Nearly half of the teams will be from the SEC.
I mean, I just feel like that is because of the way the schedule's set up and not everybody's playing everybody. You really have a chance to have maybe 4 teams that go 11-1 and another one go 10-2, just because Ole Miss doesn't play Alabama and they don't play Texas. Texas doesn't play Alabama. They don't play Ole Miss. And they don't play Missouri, and they don't play Tennessee. Tennessee doesn't play Texas, and they don't play Ole Miss, and they don't play Missouri. So, I mean, you just got the opportunity to win a lot. These teams can win a lot of games. I feel like the SEC this year is not necessarily top-heavy, but it's going to be a lot of really good teams. There's going to be a couple of really bad teams. And then in the middle, you've got some teams, like a team like Kentucky, Auburn, Texas A&M. they can step up and compete and maybe beat just about anybody. LSU should be in that discussion too.
I think you're right if it does turn out that way where there's a bunch of one-loss teams. The question will be for me is 2-loss teams versus, let's say, a one-loss non-conference champion from the ACC and Big 12 who lose in that championship game. How will the committee look at that? Will they say automatically, well, the SEC is so much better than those two conferences? Or will they say, well, they only lost one game? I mean, how would you look at that? Now, obviously, that game would be in the championship game, but the one lost compared to the two, how would you look at that?
Yeah, like let's say like a Kansas State comes into the game 11-1 and they lose to a 9-3 Utah in that game, and then it becomes okay. Does Kansas State at 11-2 still get? I see where that discussion is going to go. And I mean, remember, there's 12 slots, only 5 automatic bids. One's going to go to the group of 6 champion. I got to keep saying that. So there's some room. There's still a couple of spots there. The thing I've noticed about this is last year was like the first year where it didn't just work itself out. Every year we get all worked up about the playoff, and they're like, oh, gosh, we're going to have all these undefeated teams. And we never do. Mm-hmm. And then last year was the first time ever. And I didn't like the way it went down. But this year with 12 teams, I'm almost positive that we get there. If you're the 13th best team, you probably don't deserve it again. You're probably going to be a 2 or 3 loss team that doesn't deserve to be in over a bunch of 1 and 2 loss teams.
By the way, I refuse to say group of 6. Washington State and Oregon State, they're on their own. They're on their own island. I'm not including you in my group of 5.
Two teams are getting, like, people are like, who's going to be the representative from that? Those 2 teams were playing power football last year. Oregon State was really good. Washington State was pretty good. They could be that team. I just don't know.
No, they certainly can. And look, I do feel bad. I mean, left out, it's like crazy. Everybody left, and they're sitting there holding the bag. But, yeah, I mean, look, we're excited around here, as you would imagine, with Memphis, the possibility. I mean, there's nothing concrete. There's nothing etched in stone, but the possibility. It's exciting people.
What if imagine this scenario, and we talked about this on Sports Talk Mississippi, a 12 seed Memphis goes to Oxford for the play 5 seed at Ole Miss in the first round of the playoffs.
Let me tell you something. Stats has brought that up a couple of times to me already from texts, and it would be bonkers, absolutely crazy.
When I tell you that, well, first off, people who know who I am, like that, I would buy a blue sweatshirt. And I would be. You would never find a bigger Memphis fan than Brian Haydad on that particular day.
And the Tiger faithful would accept you.
Loss in Ole Miss history.
The Tiger faithful would accept you with open arms. I guarantee you that, Brian.
I know it. Yeah,
that would be something. Well, it's almost here. We're excited about the start of the football season. I know you guys are as well. You can listen to Brian with Sports Talk Mississippi on Super Talk Mississippi. Follow him on Twitter at Brian Haydad. That's Hadad. Brian, always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Greg. Have a good one.
You too. Good stuff. 5 teams, Zach. He's got 5 SEC teams in the first 12-team playoff. I'm not saying it can happen, but, man, think about that.
It's a lot.
Sankey will certainly be up there trying to get that done, screaming from the top of the mountains.
It just means more.
It just means more. By the way, did you see the clip? Has Hard Knocks started yet with the Bears?
Yes.
The first episode's out?
I want to say because there was a clip of Caleb Williams.
That's what I was going to bring up, but I didn't know if the episode was out or they just teased it. Because I got that DVR, so it should pop up, but I don't remember seeing it. But if you missed it, folks, the clip out there with the rookies, they have to, at the start of camp, I guess, tell everybody who they are, where they're from, all that, and what their signing bonus is.
I got the clip for you.
Oh, you got it. Go ahead and play it.
Caleb Williams went to USC in Oklahoma. Moore's down still. Fight on. Yeah. And my signing bonus is 25.5.
25.5 million signing bonus.
It's Tuesday.
That was Tuesday?
No,
okay.
it's coming up Tuesday.
Oh, it's this Tuesday. So, yeah, it was just a a primer, if you will, a tease for the show. And, of course, the Hard Knocks shows are always great. But Hard Knocks, Bears, Caleb Williams certainly will be the focal point. $25.5 million signing bonus.
And then you also had Tyler Badgett in his seat, like, having a seizure when he heard the number because he's a D3 undrafted rookie last year. So
exactly.
So
Tyler makes $6.85 an hour. That's what he makes. All right, when we come back, we're going to play 10 in a row, the game show that has swept the nation, give you a chance to win a great prize package. You can jump in early if you'd like so you don't get shut out. Sissy's Log Cabin listener line's available to you at 901-360-8255. 10 in a row is next. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Of both at Los Cabos Mexican Bar and Grill on Summer near Graham. Watch all the big games on all the big TVs on all the walls at Los Cabos. And enjoy premium tequila shots anytime for just $5.50. Celebrate every day with lunch specials from 10 to 3 and happy hour from 3 to 8. Lunch is just $6.75 to $10.99 and margaritas start at $3.99. Experience real Mexican cuisine along with great sports at Los Cabos on Summer near Graham.
Summertime's finally here, and that means it's time to party. Lucky for you, Family Leisure is having a summertime to party sale. Now, what's all included in this party sale? Practically everything. 24-foot above ground pools for as little as $19.99. All ladders, filter systems, and even robotic cleaners are 20% off. Come in and look at all of the in-stock patio furniture Family Leisure has. Plus, it's up to 50% off. Play gyms for the kids, that's $1,000 off. Patio umbrellas, take 20% off. You can get a 4-person hot tub for just under $3,000. We know you're really going to just use it for yourself. Family Leisure has discounted pricing on all in-stock pool toys and floats while the supplies last, so you better get in quick. Plus, Family Leisure has special financing available. Just ask an associate for all the details. Summertime means party time, and Family Leisure is ready for any party. Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun all come together.
You've got to watch your NFL team every Sunday, and Verizon's got you covered for all your team's out-of-market games every Sunday afternoon. Come on! From kickoff to sign-off, from first downs and touchdowns, to turnovers, and overturned plays.
After review, pass is incomplete.
Let's go! This season, win every Sunday with Verizon. Get a great deal on NFL Sunday ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV and a new phone. Excludes digital-only games. Terms and quotas apply.
The best golfers on the PGA Tour are coming to Memphis to kick off the FedEx Cup playoffs at the FedEx St. Jude Championship. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM will be broadcasting live at TPC Southwood throughout the day, Wednesday through Friday of tournament week, keeping you up to date with the latest tournament news. Our coverage from TPC Southwood and Sports 56 and 98.5 FM is brought to you by Landers Ford in Collierville. Also sponsored by Sissy's Log Cabin, First National Bank, Ronnie Grisani's, Banyan Tree Realtors, DeSoto Honda, Jim's Place, and South Haven Supply.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 95 FM. This hour brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More. And once again, our Greg Gaston and Eli Support.
Welcome back, everyone. 9:29 the time. Final 31 minutes for the week here on Sports 56 Mornings. Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 will follow me at 10 o'clock. Eli off today. He'll return on Monday. Memphis announcing that single game tickets for the 2024 football season now available at GoTigersGo.com. Obviously, they were selling season tickets. They were selling packages, but now single game tickets. Tigers will play 7 home games at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. Remember, reduced capacity. We're talking about 32,000 or thereabouts. They open up Saturday, August 31st against North Alabama at 6. They'll host Troy on September 7th. That's an 11 a.m. start. Middle Tennessee, September 28th. North Texas, October 19th. Charlotte, October 26th. And then Rice, that'll be November 8th, an 8 p.m. kickoff, and UAB, November 16th. Is Tommy West still at Middle Tennessee State? Zach, can you look up the roster and the coaching staff? I assume Tommy's still there, right?
I think so.
Unless he retired and I didn't hear that news. If he's still with the staff, because remember, they did make the recent, he may not be there anymore because they made the Stockstill is no longer there, right? I'm trying to figure out if he is, then he'd come back to Memphis. And that would be great. I can reach out and text him. Is he not on the staff?
I don't see his name here.
He must have been let go. Who's the head coach now?
Derek Mason.
Oh, Derek
Former
Mason,
Vanderbilt.
the former Vanderbilt coach. So I guess they cleaned house when Stockstill was let go. So I wonder what Tommy's doing, or is he retired now? Miss Tommy.
Probably kicking it somewhere.
I hope so. I hope he's enjoying it, hitting the golf ball, 300 yards. Big dude. Great guy. Love Tommy. Miss Tommy. So there you go. Season or single game tickets now on sale. Go to GoTigersGo.com. Time now for 10 in a row.
Not 5, not 6, not 7, not 8, not 9, but 10 in a row.
It's the game show that has swept the nation. It is 10 in a row. If you'd like to participate, hit us up on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines at 901-360-8255. 10 in a row is brought to you by Napa Cafe. Great place for dinner, and they have that little wine area that I've been to with my wife. Just it sets itself apart from everywhere else. You're enclosed. You're by yourselves. It is fantastic. Ask them about that and reserve your time in the wine cellar there at Napa Cafe. Also, 10 in a row is brought to you by the Owner's Box. Looking for sports in all the wrong places? Find the right place. Try the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill. It's in Lakeland Town Square. Fun, exciting, friendly, comfortable. Comfortable. With wall-to-wall TVs for all your favorite games. And we got college football and the NFL season's about to begin. For the Olympics, head on over to the Owner's Box and enjoy. They have the over-the-wall taps for all your favorite beers, including non-alcoholic and local craft beers. In front of the wall, they got the full bar for all your other favorite beverages, including a full wine list. You added an upscale menu, patio seating, daily specials and events. And you found all your sports in the one right place. The Owner's Box, Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland Town Square. Lunch specials, weekdays, 11 a.m. until 3 p.m. Lunch is served. Everything from wraps to salads to quesadillas to sliders. Absolutely out of this world. It's good price as well for all these items. It's the Owner's Box, Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland, in the Lakeland Town Square. All right, what are the folks playing for today?
We got a $50 gift card to Blue City Cafe, $25 gift certificate to Owner's Box.
Okay.
A couple Malcolm movie passes and golf for 4 at Miramichi.
All right, that's a nice prize package. Owner's Box. Yeah, what was the first one? First prize?
Blue City Cafe.
Blue City Cafe, which is fantastic. Malco movie. Went to Malco movie yesterday. Saw a movie with one of my grandsons and my daughter. And then golf for 4 at Miramichi. Are you kidding me? 360-8255. Here's the question. NFL training camp cities 2024. Not an all-time thing. This is this year. 2024 NFL training camp cities. Now, I go by the exact city that is listed. The exact city that is listed. Okay? NFL training camp cities. I'll give you the name of the city. If there's an NFL team that trains there, it's yes. If not, it's no. Some could be big cities. Some could be small cities. NFL training camp cities. 360-8255, 901-360-8255. As you are looking that up, I'm sure, dial in as soon as you can because I'll pull the plug on this thing. Did Morocco just score again against the United States? I think they just scored. I looked up. They scored. I looked down. I looked back up. I think they scored again. Throw a score up there. Put the score bug up there. Morocco is taking it to the United States in the quarterfinals. This is U23 at the Olympics. The U23 United States team had done pretty well, and they get to the knockout stage, and they're getting knocked out. They still have not posted the score. I think it may be 3-0 now. The United States is pretty much toast. Mentioned Xander Schauffele, what he is doing. His round is done, his second round at the golf event in the Olympics, and he's tied for the lead. Hideki Matsuyama, the first-round leader, tied with Schauffele. See if I can get an update on that as well. Plenty of golfers still out there as they finish up round number 2, so still a ways to go as far as the tournament is concerned. But boy, oh boy, Xander Schauffele putting himself in position to defend his title. Although now we get an update that Matsuyama is back in the lead and Fleetwood has moved ahead of Schauffele. But Schauffele's still in good position. He's 11 under. He's through his 2 rounds. He's 1 behind Tommy Fleetwood and 2 behind Matsuyama. Matsuyama and Fleetwood have 1 hole to go. So I assume they're playing with each other. Fleetwood's got an 8 under round going. Matsuyama 5 under. Schauffele 5 under for his round today as well. But Schauffele, if he can win gold, that would be a defense of his title from Japan, from Tokyo. 2 majors as well. We get ready for the FedEx Cup playoffs with the first event here in Memphis. It's mano a mano with Schauffele and Scheffler for Player of the Year. All right, again, NFL training camp cities. I'll give you the name of a city. If an NFL team currently trains in that city, it's a yes. If not, it's a no. We have a couple of open lines, 360-8255, the number. Once again, Zach, the prize package that we're giving away.
Yeah, $50 to Blue City Cafe, $25 to Owner's Box, couple Malco movie passes, and golf report at Miramichi.
All right, there we go. Let's begin. Let's start with Dan. Dan, how are you?
Good, Greg. I didn't look these up or nothing, so.
Oh, okay. All right. Good for you. Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yes.
Lake Forest, Illinois.
Yes.
Oxnard, California.
No.
360-8255. See, to me, it's a weird name. I mean, that's an easy one if you know the Cowboys and Oxnard. 360-8255. Steven's up next. Steven, what's going on?
Hey, guys, what's going on?
Miami Gardens, Florida.
Yes.
Champaign, Illinois.
No.
Irvine, California.
Yes.
Latrobe, Pennsylvania.
Latrobe, no.
360-8255. We got a couple of open lines. Latrobe, the home of Rolling Rock beer, my favorite beer. Anthony's next. Hi, Anthony.
Hey, how's it going?
Going well. NFL training camp cities. I'll give you the name of the city. If an NFL team is training in that city, it's a yes. If not, it's a no. Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yes.
Lake Forest, Illinois.
Yes.
Oxnard, California.
Yes.
Galveston, Texas.
No.
Akron, Ohio.
No.
Englewood, Colorado.
No.
360-8255 is the number. We have open lines here as we play 10 in a row. 2024 NFL training camp cities. Again, if you've won in the last 30 days, you're ineligible. And if you've already had a guess, you are ineligible. Again, this is one that's easy to look up. I appreciate our first caller, at least our first caller, who knows about the other two, admitting that he did not look it up. Again, there's no rules. If you want to do that, it's fine. I want to give away the prizes. I always did trivia as a kid. We had a local radio station where I grew up, and they'd have the trivia questions. And, of course, you didn't have the access. You didn't have the internet. So unless you had a magazine or a book and had the answer in there, which you'd have to do pretty quick because the people were calling very quickly, I would just love to take a stab at something. I'd hit it every once in a while. I wasn't this walking encyclopedia of knowledge of sports. I knew a lot, but, man, it was fun when you nailed that thing. So 360-8255, if you'd like to play. We're going to do this for a few more moments. If nobody else has a guess, we will save the prizes until next Friday. I thought this would be a simple one. Again, just an easy one to look up. 2024 NFL training camp cities, 360-8255. Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines are open to you. We'll do this for a few more minutes. Got some folks calling in right now. 360-8255 is the number. And next up is Jacob. Jacob, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Doing good. All right, here we go. Miami Gardens, Florida.
Yeah.
Champaign, Illinois.
No.
Irvine, California.
Yes.
Latrobe, PA.
Yes.
Renton, Washington.
Yes.
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
No.
Ashburn, Virginia.
Yes.
Tampa, Florida.
Florida, no.
360-8255. He got so close, I thought we were going to have a winner with Jacob. All right, folks. Another minute. That's it. 360-8255. 360-8255. NFL training camp cities. Again, it's interesting. Some train right in the city where they play their games, their home city. Others don't. Others go out of state. Some play in a suburban area, maybe of that metropolitan city, but it is not that city, if you know what I mean. I remember the Colts because I visited them, my favorite team. They were once in Anderson, Indiana, but they have since moved. 360-8255. All right, this is going to be the last shot. It's Carl. See if Carl can hit a home run. Carl, how are you?
Hey, let's do it.
All right, let's try. Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yes.
Lake Forest, Illinois.
Yes.
Oxnard, California.
Yes.
Galveston, Texas.
No.
Akron, Ohio.
No.
Englewood, Colorado.
Yes.
Westfield, Indiana.
No.
Oh, man, Carl, I thought you had it there. That was the Colts. They moved to Westfield, Indiana, and that's it. We're not going to have a winner, Zach. Unfortunately, we're out of time. I'm going to give you some of the cities and tell you about some that we did not get to. So Charlotte's the Panthers.
Yeah.
They have their camp right there in the city. The Bears are in Lake Forest, Illinois, which, again, I don't know if it's a suburban, like metropolitan Chicago, and that's a suburb. Oxnard, California. The Cowboys have always trained. They've gone from Texas, the heat of Texas, to the coast of California, out there on the Pacific coast. Galveston, Texas, I used. No. Akron, Ohio, no. Englewood, Colorado's, yes. That's the Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
Westfield, Indiana is the Colts. Used to be Anderson. Albany, New York, we didn't get to. That would have been a no. Costa Mesa, California, Zach. What do you think?
That'll be a yes.
You know who they are?
This the Chargers?
No, it's the Raiders.
Really?
Yeah. You don't want to train in Las Vegas, believe me. Scranton, Pennsylvania, that's a no. We get to the other lists. We had a few that we went pretty deep on this list. Jacob went deep. I thought he was going to win the thing. Miami Gardens, Florida is a yes. That's the Dolphins. Champaign, Illinois, no. I used to think the Bears trained there, but they never did. That's the home of the University of Illinois. Irvine, California is a yes. Do you know who they are? Who trains out in Irvine, California?
Now, that easily had to be one of the California teams.
No. It's another city. It's another team that it would be a death trap to train outdoors in the city that they're located. You know, if we had an NFL team, it would have been Memphis would be training in California. Think
Was it
south.
Kansas City?
Think south of Memphis.
South of Memphis. It can't be New Orleans.
Saints.
Really?
Irvine, California.
They go all the way out to the West Coast?
The Cowboys go all the way out to the West Coast as well. Latrobe, Pennsylvania, home of the late Arnold Palmer and Rolling Rock Beer. That's the Steelers. That's just outside of Pittsburgh. Renton, Washington, Seahawks. That's easy. Again, I'm not sure if that's just a suburb of Seattle or not. Pittsburgh, I used, was a no. Ashburn, Virginia, that's the Redskins. I used to go to Ashburn when I was working in Maryland and television and cover the Redskins there. The Commanders, yeah. But it was the Redskins when I was there.
I understand.
All right, final three for you, buddy. This is the one Jacob missed on. Tampa. He said no.
That's a yes.
It's pretty obvious, right?
Yeah.
It's obvious now that it's a yes, and it's the Buccaneers. Florham Park, New Jersey.
No.
It's a yes. It's the Jets. The Giants. The Giants train right there at
New Jersey. Oh,
in the Meadowlands. You know where what is it? The MetLife Stadium. They train at a facility right next to it. The Jets train at Florham Park, and then Tucson, Arizona.
That's a yes.
That's a no.
That's a no? I'm still thinking Glendale. I'm sorry.
Glendale, yeah. And they can go inside and all that with that desert heat out there. So there you go. NFL training camps and the cities that they train in. That's 10 in a row. Again, it's brought to you by Napa Cafe and the Owner's Box. Excuse me, losing my voice. The Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill. That's in the Lakeland Town Square. So no winner. We'll do it again next Friday. We need to take one final break. We'll come back, give you an update on everything that's going on with the Olympics. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
East Memphis Ace Hardware is more than just a hardware store. It's really a customer service store. With 20 employees along with complete inventory of items, they deliver. Finding what you need is easy. Choosing from a complete selection of Big Green Egg as well as Traeger and Weber grills. And the Garden Center has everything for your yard. You can get glass cut, repair screens, and your keys to a key fob programming. Tools, nuts, bolts, screws. You need it. East Memphis Ace Hardware has them. And they're just down the street at the corner of Wilson White Station.
At Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee, they're proud to be here for their neighbors while giving back to communities across the state throughout the year, every year. This month, they're honored to stand alongside 1,600 dedicated volunteers as they make this year's annual FedEx St. Jude Golf Tournament fundraiser a resounding success. Giving back to St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, which helps treat and defeat childhood cancer, is a meaningful effort that is very close to their hearts. This year, their goal is to reach $3 million in donations for kids at St. Jude's, and they couldn't do it without the support of their amazing volunteers. To all the participants, thank you for being a part of this most important endeavor to lift up so many families across the state from right here in Memphis, Tennessee. To read more about Team Blue volunteers, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee, Healthy Places, and other ways they're devoted to helping our communities, please visit bcbst.com.
Moving is stressful, but Black Tie Moving can take the worry out of the process. Whether you're moving across town or across country, moving your home or your office, your personal moving concierge from Black Tie Moving will work with you to design a plan that perfectly fits your budget and needs. And they're available 24/7 to answer any questions you have. Give Black Tie Moving a call at 901-316-6196 or go to blacktiemoving.com/Memphis to get your personal, no obligation quote from the moving experts at Black Tie Moving.
Make your next grill your last with a Big Green Egg. Smoke, bake, roast, sear, and grill, all with a lifetime warranty. Save money on fuel, eating out, and replacing expensive grills that cannot match the flavor of the Big Green Egg. Ready to cook in only 10 to 15 minutes with temperatures below 200, above 700, and anywhere in between with ease. Change your at-home cooking experience for life. Go to shop.biggreenegg.com.
Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 95 FM. This hour brought to you by James Floors and More. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
They're in the 84th minute. The men, the United States men in the Youth 23 soccer are getting destroyed in the quarterfinals, so they will be eliminated. There will be no medal for the U23 team. They started out like gangbusters, but they are trailing Morocco 3-0. This is pretty amazing. At the Le Golf National golf venue for the Olympics, going into that final hole, Hideki Matsuyama was at 13 under, and Tommy Fleetwood was 12 under. Xander Schauffele was finished at 11 under. Matsuyama proceeded to double bogey his final hole. Tommy Fleetwood bogeyed his final hole. And at the halfway mark, Fleetwood, Schauffele, Matsuyama, all 11 under par. John Rahm is 9 under. He shot 5 under. Thomas Dietrich, who shot a 63 today, is 8 under. Do you have the rest of the scores up there? Where did Scheffler and McIlroy end up?
McElroy, he's still on the course. He is 6 under, 3 under for the day.
Okay.
Scheffler is 5 under. He's 1 under for the day.
Okay. So McElroy 5 off the pace right now. Scheffler 6 off the pace. 2 rounds to go. It's possible. It's still possible. If you missed it yesterday, the United States women won again, as they always do in women's basketball, 87-74, although a tough battle with Belgium. And it looks like the 3-on-3 women's team is going to get a victory. It has not been a great showing to this point for the men or women as far as 3-on-3 is concerned. Of course, the big news that came from yesterday at the Olympic Games, Simone Biles winning gold in the women's all-around final, as she now has 9 medals, 6 gold, still can win 3 more medals. I think she's got 3 more events to go. At 27, became the oldest all-around champion since 1952. Suni Lee got the bronze. Lee and Biles were the last 2 all-around champions. And they ended up going, as I said, gold and bronze. Katie Ledecky got the silver with 3 of her teammates in the women's 4x200-meter freestyle relay. That's her 13th medal, most ever by an American woman Olympian. As far as today is concerned, you have Carlos Alcaraz moving into the men's singles final. We'll see if he'll be joined by Novak Djokovic a little bit later on. You have the track and field starting. Do you have an update, by the way, on the Memphian Harrison Williams in the decathlon by any chance? Sha'Carri Richardson won her heat in the 100-meter semis. No, she moves into the 100-meter semifinals after winning her heat. Sha'Carri Richardson, one of the biggest hopes and best hopes for track and field gold. I think there's a number of athletes who can certainly bring home the gold and certainly medal for the United States.
He ran his race today? Or do you know?
Well, it's a decathlon, so there's a bunch of events, but I'm not sure. I know he got started this morning. There's actually a way to follow Harrison Williams, and if you follow John Varlas on X, Twitter, he's posted a link so people can follow him. Is of course, the MUS stud who, great story about Bobby Austin kind of urging him on to do what he's done and became a big-time state, like multiple state champion. I think John said he won 8 or 9 like state championships in different events. But what a performer. And he's one of the 2 Memphians that have participated in the Olympic Games this year, with the other, and I forget his name, being the triathlete.
Seth Ryder.
Seth Ryder, that's right, who had to swim in that cesspool.
Yeah. Harrison Williams, right now he is 7th. He's like 400 points away from gold.
All right, so
I'm not sure how many events are there.
There's 10. Decathlon, right?
It's a decathlon.
Yeah. So there's 10 events, so he's sitting at 7 right now. So a ways to go as far as that's concerned. Not without controversy, of course, the Summer Games. Canada appealed their figure skating, trying to get a figure skating bronze. That was denied. The Dutch win sailing gold despite a finish line mix-up. You had the situation going on with boxing, where Hungary is now protesting the participation of a boxer who they feel is a man fighting as a woman. There are 2 athletes. The IOC said it's ridiculous that they're making these claims. But if you want to read a really good story about that and where it stands, because there is not a complete answer to that question, read Dan Wolken's story from USA Today. There was also a Slovakian swimmer who collapsed after an asthma attack. Certainly hate to see that, but when you have that many athletes competing, things happen, whether it be injuries or illnesses or things of that nature. But track and field is going to start to take over. There's still a number of gymnastics that will take place over the next 3 or 4 days. Swimming continues. So I talked about this at the start of the show, that Simone Biles, no question, gymnastics, the GOAT. Katie Ledecky, women's swimming, no doubt in my mind, the GOAT. But the GOAT, the overall GOAT, as far as Olympians are concerned, and this includes every single athlete. The great things that Jesse Owens did in front of Hitler, Carl Lewis, Mark Spitz, on and on and on and on. The GOAT is Michael Phelps. 28 medals, 23 gold. What, are you kidding me? Sure, you're entitled to your opinion. Your opinion would be wrong if it's not Michael Phelps. I couldn't care less that he's a swimmer as opposed to a track star, as opposed to a gymnast. You cannot argue with that. And sometimes out of sight, out of mind, even though he's in sight as an analyst slash coach slash personality with the Olympics. You see him a lot. But he's not swimming anymore. So sometimes we forget the greatness. By the way, have you enjoyed Snoop Dogg?
Yeah, he's like a big kid, like out in Paris right now.
I mean, him and Flava Flav, they're having a great time. There's a lot of stars that have come out for the Olympics, but they have really made him a big part of the Olympics coverage. And then, of course, he's going to be on The Voice as a judge. Funny how that works out, how they're able to kind of sneak that in, that cross-promotion. But I've enjoyed it. I've always enjoyed the guy. It's a little oversaturated, just like it was early when Peyton Manning was in every cutaway.
And then next year, we're going to have the return of The Flavor of Love on NBC.
Another show?
No, I'm just messing with you.
All right, that's going to do it for us today. I want to thank everybody for listening, your calls, your texts. Always appreciate it. That'll do it for us this week. On Monday, we're back starting bright and early at 7 a.m. Drew Hill from the Daily Memphian among our guests. Eli will return on Monday morning. Want to thank John Varlas, Joe Mullinax, Katie Wu, and Brian Haydad for joining us on the program. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the Olympic Games or whatever else you're doing or watching. And we'll discuss it on Monday. Waldo and Friends on Sports 56 is coming up next. For Eli Savoy and for Zach Boyd, I'm Greg Gaston. Have a great weekend, everybody.